Hi, there it is.
Now!
Right now. Folks, how the heck are you? It's good to see you all. Welcome to the pre-show for the R&R Show, episode 87. I'm Ruel, that's Ray, that's Chris. We're hanging out and pressing buttons, hoping things work on the technical side of things, which they never do.
I got some big news. For you today.
Yes, big news. Let's spill it.
Are you ready for some big news?
I'm always ready for big news.
I logged on to this call earlier than Ray, and so that's why I got put into the middle, and I won't be covered by the subscribers. I won't be covered by the subscribers.
Nice, congrats. That's awesome.
So everybody, make sure you continue to sub and follow and do all of those things.
Yes. Get my ugly mug off the screen.
Oh no, how dare you? You're the only one who classes up this joint.
Exactly.
Ray.
That's why we have you on here. Well, beyond
you're the
many
reasons. You're the reason this stream exists now. The R&R. You're the reason it went back to R&R, which is much better than R&R.
Welcome, friends in chat. Good to see everyone here. We are getting things ready, as you know, every week we come on here now back to our regular scheduled day, Tuesday. We hang out here for a couple of hours, do a list, and hang out with you all. We're going to be playing some Gartic Show, which has been a really nice addition to the show, and I got to thank Ray for that. It's a lot of fun.
Of course. I'm so glad y'all like it. It's a ton of fun.
It's
this time,
yes,
I'm drawing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We're bringing Chris into the mix this time, so he can finally see what it's like to be on the other side, desperately trying to convey the cover of the game.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, I will not be drawing these covers correctly. I can already tell you that.
I'm very, very excited.
That's the best part.
I tried to go out of my way to grab towards the end of the list because I was running out of stuff to pull. Mm-hmm. I was going through the Room and Board catalog, trying to pick games that at some point in time you have talked about. So at some point in your life, you knew these games existed. So no complaining. You at some point are on the record having talked about most of these games.
That's a spoiler for anybody who's
memorized every game you've ever talked about.
Every game I've ever talked about, which I just assume is the entire Room and Board audience. I just assume that it is. Yep. And if it's not you, go unsubscribe right now from Room and Board. Not not R&R.
Next time someone says like, oh, I see you're doing like the Rahdo show with Chris. I love Room and Board. I'm gonna be like, yeah. Name every game he's ever talked about. You know that that thing that you're into X thing? Yeah. Name their 3 top songs. I'm gonna do that.
If you're a true fan, you would know all the games.
If you're a true fan.
Yeah. But yeah, how's everyone doing? How's
chat? How's chat doing?
Yeah, chat, how you doing? What's going on?
It's all about you, chat.
Yeah. Hi, Bomb. Hi, Dino Corgi. Welcome on in.
Yeah. Dino Corgi says, if you're not 10 minutes late, you're early. And H-Bomb says, if you're not 10 minutes early, you're late. So we got 2 different schools.
I was like 25 minutes early this time. Yep. It was unheard of because I thought I would have to feed my cat, and I didn't.
Oh, that's right.
What's wrong with your cat?
Yeah, is everything okay?
No.
Your cat fed themselves?
Yeah. They've been feeding themselves in the middle of the night, consistently breaking into the cabinets. But no, Renee just fed them earlier.
Oh,
that's
nice.
There's no real.
So Chris, you're done with the show. The show's done.
I'm done with the R&R show. Yeah,
the R&R show. That's it. Yeah, this is it. Bye, folks.
This is my goodbye party. This is my farewell tour.
Yeah,
that's why I finally got the middle. It can be Ray and Ruel, like the internet. The internet has been screaming for. I will play Gartic Show in the chat, but I will be reduced to being just a chat presence. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm still in Nova Scotia. I was doing a theater show. I'm still in Nova Scotia, but I'm going back next week to Toronto. We're driving back on the weekend.
Okay.
So next Tuesday, where we have our next R&R show, I'll be back in Toronto, which will be nice. And then I'm there for 2 months, and then I drive back here out east for another 3 months to do another show.
Wow.
And before that, I'm going to go to KublaCon to run a WSBG event. A little mini tournament there. I'm excited. San Francisco.
Yeah.
I know that's close to you, Ruel. Well, I don't know how close it is.
It's about, let me see, driving it'd be like 7 or 8 hours. It's not that close. But
it's
by plane, it's only like an hour. So
there you go. Just get your private jet.
Yeah, that's what I usually do, but I'm trying to make less of an impact on the environment, so I will put the
That's
private
very kind
jet
of you, Ruel.
Thank you. Yeah,
thoughtful.
I'll be
for
flying.
Thinking of the rest of us.
that's how I roll.
99%.
What about you, Ray? What's going on with you? You're still part of the R&R show, I believe. So
Thanks.
Yeah. You
until
haven't been
you
cut.
kick me off. Yeah, no, I'm doing great. We've had a very busy couple weeks at the op. We announced. I know we teased it. We beat that. Oh, we beat that horse. Last R&R show
we
about
teased
this.
And you didn't reveal it. I was really disappointed.
I probably could have gotten away with it, because it was kind of already leaked after Gamma. Like people, that's the catch-22 of showing anything at Gamma is that people will talk about it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't as like super under wraps. It doesn't have any like major IP. I don't know. I didn't want to spoil it, but it is since between now and the last R&R show, it has been announced. If you were on your toes about what the announcement was, and you for some reason didn't do what I said, which was go look at the op socials and find out what it was, I'll tell you here, which is that we announced that we are going to be republishing 10 Days in the USA, which is Alan Armoon's other travel game. That's not Ticket to Ride, but honestly, I like 10 Days more than Ticket to Ride in a lot of ways, at least the base Ticket to Ride without any of the extra accoutrement. I really like 10 Days. It's a really, really simple game where you are like plotting out your 10-day trip in various countries. I grew up with 10 Days in Africa. There's also 10 Days in Europe, 10 Days in the USA, a bunch of different versions of it in different geographical locations, but the basic idea is the same in all of them, where you're planning out your 10-day trip and you're trying to like draft cards to go left from right, like day 1 to day 10, and you want to get countries or states or whatever that are next to each other, and you can fly between them if they're the same color, and you can drive through one state to another if you have the correct color car. It's really fun. It's really simple. I like it because I played it as a kid. It's really, really simple, and it's nice if you've got like a family, if you're looking for family games that can engage adults as well as kids. So it's just a game that is very special to me. So it's cool to be part of like the new era of the game. It's going to have all the same gameplay, just like nicer, more modern art that sort of, makes it fit in better with a modern board game collection. So I'm very excited. Sorry, go ahead, Ruel. Yeah.
I was just gonna ask, have they done any changes to the gameplay? I mean, this is like a 20-year-old game.
Gameplay is the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Hi, Retro. Welcome on in. Glad I could catch this live. We're glad you could catch this live as well. Welcome on in. Good to see you.
Well, John says, I was going to say I heard about 10 Days on Dice Tower before Ray refused to talk about it.
Oh,
so it was already spoiled. You held me.
I've been told that I've ruined many secrets, so I'm trying to be better, and now apparently it doesn't matter. So whatever.
Now it doesn't matter. So what other secrets can you ruin today, Ray? Is there anything else that's on the topic?
We will be announcing another game that also got semi-leaked at Gamma, which is fine. Like that's sort of what just happens when you bring a game to Gamma. Is what you expect. People will start talking about it. But we will be formally announcing a game that's gotten very little, not very little, but like relatively little buzz since Gamma. So it's probably a surprise to most people. We'll be announcing that on Earth Day, I think this month is the 22nd. So that's
yes, we all know what day Earth Day is.
Yes, I believe it's Earth Day or Nature Day, or I think it's Earth Day, the 22nd, which is relevant to the theme. And that's all I'll say. It's not Gnome Hollow. That's already been announced. It's something else.
Okay.
It's Earth. You've taken it from Inside Up Game.
Yes, we're republishing Earth. Yes, exactly.
They don't know. Their Kickstarter scheduled, but they're in for a
the
shocking
op is just taking over.
The op's already publishing the expansion before.
Yeah, we're coming for everybody. But yeah, no, that's been mostly this week is working with that announcement. We had April Fools yesterday. I know this episode will go up in a couple days in the future, but we had the April Fools yesterday, and I got to do some fun April Fools antics with Jillian from Brotherwise, and I got to see all the fake board game announcements, which is always a little bit of a treat. Once you remember that it's April Fools, you're like, oh, this is fun.
There are so many. There are so many.
People are really going for it.
Did the op do anything then?
Yeah, we did. We just did a silly thing where Jillian from Brotherwise, who's their marketing manager, we don't look alike, but we both have bangs. And so we just swapped places. We just made a video for each other's channels. And I was like, hey, I'm Jillian from Brotherwise. And someone said that I'm like the Waluigi to her Luigi. Like we're very like no effort was put into this to make us look like each other. I took off my glasses and pulled my hair back and kind of parted my bangs. And
that
she
seems
put
like
glasses
effort.
on and hung her bangs forward. And that was it. It was really cute though. It was fun. It was a nice low effort April Fool's joke.
And I'm sorry, Jillian, for calling you Ray this whole time. This is
thank you.
This is really awkward.
Jeez, I've been trying to clarify that.
Yeah, that's our bad. That's our bad. I want to go to 10 days about the USA because you said something mechanically, and I want to
go to 10 days about the USA. That's what
no
you
10 days. 10 days in the USA. Isn't that the game?
That is the game.
You said I want to go to.
Oh yeah, I want to go back to it. I want to go back to it. I want to go back to it because so in this 10-day trip, you need different color cars to move from one state to the next. That's a mechanics thing.
I misspoke. You need different colored planes, so you can fly from like a blue state to a blue state in a blue plane, or you can drive through a state if you have a car. So like you're lining up your up your cards. Was there a joke that I ruined?
Well, yeah, I was really excited. Yeah, I was really excited that like you're casting aside the cars as you go into another state in your 10-day trip. That it actually is like a big heist game. That's what I was thinking of, because you're like constantly pulling it in and you're throwing one car aside and you're getting into the next car, and then you gotta throw that one away.
Anyway,
that's
it's
great.
Planes, so
it's planes. Well, they could be different colors, I guess, because nobody owns planes except for Ruel.
Yeah, so. And I'm putting mine in the hangar for now.
Yeah.
Right, for the game, is the Up releasing all of the games in this series, or is it going to start with the USA, then one by one?
That's a secret.
Ooh.
I will say keep your eyes on it. We're hoping to touch on some of those other titles. I can't specifically say which ones.
Yep.
But if 10 Days in the USA does well, I believe there are plans to do some of those other locations that people really like and find really hard to find. I know 10 Days in Africa, 10 Days in, I think, Europe are two of the ones that I see a lot of people like begging us to redo, because those versions are really, the original versions of those are really hard to find.
Yeah.
So
10 Days in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Yeah, sure.
the really,
I would love to do like a fantasy location or something. I would love to do like a maybe like a D&D crossover 10 Days in the Forgotten Realms or something, and you're going in between planes.
10 days
we do have access to like a lot of IPs that we work with. I don't know. This is coming from, again, the last person in the chain of command to find out about anything. So I don't know what Alan R. Moon like allows or wants with his game, like what kind of things he wants. But in my perfect universe that exists, I think it'd be really fun to do fantasy maps or something. Like we have like the Witcher IP that we've done some stuff with. Like imagine doing that in like the Witcher map. I think that'd be so cool. But that's just me, who has zero power to make any of that happen. Just spitballing, you know?
Yeah. John says 10 Days in the Seven Kingdoms of Westeros would be a good one. I think that's a good one. Yeah.
All right, question for chat. If you could like have that kind of game set in what would be like the coolest fantasy setting or fictional setting, a map or location that's fictional that you're really familiar with, that you would want a game like that setting? Because I think for me, Forgotten Realms would be my pick.
Yeah.
It's got to be map based, right? Cool, like you have to maintain the same like structure of the game, and so the enjoyment of the game comes from that like route planning, traveling,
right? From what borders what and that kind of thing. Ooh, Hyrule is
good.
Hyrule's a great answer.
Yeah, you get all the different cool. You get all the different locations, right?
That'd be super cool.
Biomes essentially.
Yeah. Also, Pantaloni, welcome on in, and Belligerent, and Imagine Eric. And Dark, hi friends.
Dino says 10 Days in Middle Earth, of course. Yeah, 10 Days in Middle Earth is a good one.
That's a good one.
See,
I think for
I
think for like a promotional thing, like it'd be fun to do like 10 days in Gen Con and like just do like Gen Con specific things.
You know? Wait a minute. That could actually be so cute.
Wouldn't it be fun?
And have the people's
map.
booths and stuff.
Yeah. Here's the main hall. Here's this part of the, we got to go across the Lucas Oil Stadium for the library in the game area, Ray, make it happen.
That's actually, I'm literally going to make a note to myself.
Please
that's actually so cute. Oh my God, hold on. I'm gonna mute my mic because everyone complains about how loud my keyboard is. So give me a second.
No, go right ahead.
Note to myself.
So you have like 10 days in Gen Con. You could go to the food trucks. You could, wander out to Lucas Oil Stadium. What else is over there? Go across the street to the baseball stadium. Go catch a ball game, which I'll be doing, folks, if you're Gen Con.
I'm going to do something with that.
Yeah.
And pretend like it was my idea all along.
It's all yours to rip off. Please do it.
So clever. I would love to do something like that.
Dino says 10 minutes at Gen Con or 10 hours at Gen Con. Either way, you're still standing in the Lorcana line.
Yeah, if you choose to go to the Lorcana booth, that's just all 10 of your cards is just the Lorcana booth.
Yeah.
Hi, Bree. Welcome on in.
Hi, Bree. Barefoot Bug says, look for Ray on the street corner outside Gen Con selling her homemade 10 days in Gen Con game.
Yes.
I would buy one.
Imagine how exhausting 10 days at Gen Con would be. Yeah. I think that's like a good...
Yeah.
That's like a good personality litmus test for people. Like, do you think 10 days at Gen Con would be fun or not? I feel
Absolutely
like
not.
Some people would be like, oh, hell yeah. And some people like me, and I think the other two people in this call would be like, that's too much. But I know some people in my life who would be so down for that.
Yeah. You know what? In the perfect world, I would like 5 and 5. So 5 days with my content creator hat, and then 5 days with my Ruel, just, civilian hat.
And then,
you know what I mean?
To get to actually experience
so like just
it
experience
and, like,
it. Yeah.
Have fun. Yeah.
Rather than not having to like jump from meeting to meeting or doing whatever. It's like, let's just go and experience Gen Con for what it is,
Imagine experiencing Gen Con. Imagine that, Ruel. Like that's
I have no idea what that's
so foreign
like.
to me.
You're right.
Chris, are you doing Gen Con this year?
Probably not, because I'll be doing Shakespeare by the Sea. Again.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
I'll miss most of the summer cons. I'll miss Origins. I'll miss Gen Con. I'll go.
And then you just go straight into the World Series of Board Gaming right after the show, right?
Yeah, pretty much. We'll go early September, and then I'll do my couple weeks prep, and then we'll do WSBG and see who wins. Who's the third person to win $25,000?
Yeah. Is there anything you can reveal about the upcoming WSBG, Chris? Can we poke and prod you like we do to Ray here?
If I could reveal something, like I would reveal it. But like we're pretty much just like, hey, it's the event. It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
It's gonna be as good as last time. We're gonna give away more things.
Nice.
We're gonna try to give away things to everybody who walks in the door. Essentially, is the goal.
That's cool.
Like make sure you get stuff back, right? Like swag bags. I think we're trying to make those happen. Chip Theory Games donated like a whole bunch of coffee, so everybody got like 2 bags of like Chip Theory coffee.
A smart
just
like
as
sponsorship
a thing going in.
And
then they're awesome. So I'm hopefully that they can do something like that again.
That's
Chip
cool.
Theory's April Fool's was a good one. It was Oops All Gameplay for their pop-up book, and they're actually selling it. So if you didn't want the pop-up book and you just wanted like the gameplay, like the extra cards and like the little thing you don't need a pop-up book, I think this is the optimal way to play the Automaton of Shale. I think that's absolutely the way to go. Get it. It's a fun one-shot, and then you don't have to worry, like don't have the pop-up book.
Nice.
But the pop-up book's cool, but yeah. I thought that was cool.
That's really cute. That's awesome.
I was just going to ask you a question about WSBG. So, are you going to have Grant Lyon back there again? Because I loved his comedy show. I thought he was phenomenal. And is there any way to get him back on?
I mean, if people
make it happen, Chris.
You know what I mean? Like, Ruel wants it. I'm not really in charge of any of the like event planning, unfortunately.
Of course. Yeah.
So I don't know like what's confirmed and what's not.
Yeah.
And what's in the mix. Danny Standring, who you may know from TikTok.
Oh yeah,
I love Danny.
Danny's great.
She's awesome.
She deals with also like the events and making sure everybody's having like a fun time. And then I run around crying when there's something unplugged that I can't find in my like hundreds of meters of cable that I've run.
Man, I remember that streaming room and I'm like, oh my gosh, I could not even think about doing what you did, Chris. I mean, kudos to you. That from what I understand, everything went smoothly or relatively smoothly. I mean, you got all the footage you did. So, I mean, that's a huge production, man.
What we are going to try to do is just like up level that production this year and have more live games streamed, and like potentially more like all day style coverage. So like Dice Tower might do like top 10 players to watch and like really again making it focused around the players and like highlighting the players, because that's the exciting part for me.
Like their stories.
Is knowing the players and like creating like you see in like poker you have your heroes and your villains and whatever, right? Like we want to create that for the board gaming space. Like we want, if you want to be like a name in board gaming, be like the villain or like the person to watch, or like you've made it to like 3 tables, like we want to highlight that, we want to celebrate that, and that's honestly what people go for is the bragging rights, rather than like I remember because I did a 4-hour commentary of Gaia Project with the the second place of the overall event in 2022.
Oh,
he was the Gaia champion.
yeah.
And so he jumped on it, and it was awesome. It's on Dice Tower right now. It was so much fun to do because and I was like, man, I just want to play Gaia now, because I got to just basically sit there and ask Cliff like a bunch of different questions. He's like, okay, look at this. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm a big Terra Mystica player. I've played less Gaia. I've only played Gaia because of WSBG. But like getting to watch that made me so excited to play Gaia. And then I asked him, I was like, hey, what was better? Because he won $10,000 for coming in second. I was like, what's better, $10,000 the Gaia Project ring? He's like, oh, the Gaia Project ring. Like, I don't care. I don't care that it's less value. It's like that you have a friggin' ring and you're like, yeah, I'm the Gaia Project 2022 champion.
That's so sick.
That
right?
is
Like,
cool.
that's why people. That's the reason for going. That's the reason for showing up and playing. That's the reason why I contemplate quitting every day so that I can go compete myself for the glory, right? And so being able to like try to highlight those players, I still got to figure out how to make it work on the with the tech elements that we have, and it has to be a mobile setup, and so you can't have like a bunch of computers to bring in, but it's like trying to build it every year, which is fun. So hopefully it'll grow and have more coverage that we can have, and that sort of stuff. Yeah, I think it'll be fun.
I really I did some commentary for y'all last year. Paula Demon and I we did the Red Cathedral final table, and that was my favorite part. Not only working with Paula, because she's like the pro's pro. She's just amazing to work with.
She's just the best.
Yeah, she's so talented and so funny and witty. But there was that point where before the actual final table started, Paul and I got to sit with every single player and just sort of, we asked them some basic questions, but sort of dig into their backstory, which was great because then we were able to use that during the commentaries. Like, oh, so-and-so from so-and-so. And here's, they had never played Red Cathedral before this, or they're the returning Terraforming Mars champion and stuff like that. It was really cool to do that. And, you talk about getting those stories or their narratives. Like, I used to watch the World Series of Poker all the times, and there are those villains or heroes or whatever, but you build that narrative, and it's really fun for the audience to latch onto those personalities.
Yeah, it gives you people to root for, and then if you're you think you're an ordinary board gamer, but you're really good at board games, and you show up and you like make it to some final tables.
Yeah,
I feel like it was so cool doing it with Cliff, and I've been doing more commentary with like the ring winners, which is great because they bring such like an expertise to the game. Yeah. Obviously having been able to like go so far in the competition, but I've spent so much time watching them like behind the scenes and like editing footage, and like I feel like I know them. It's that like it's the YouTube thing, right? Where you spend time watching people and you become like,
parasocial.
But it's just like I know you, and so it's like was really fun to be able to commentate with them and to actually get to hang out with them. Where I'm like, I'm not just in my cave at the computer like working on the streaming. I'm like, we can hang out and talk about games. I love games too. So that was exciting. I am excited if you it's a 4-hour stream of Gaia. You may not watch the whole thing, but if you watch the first I put the first little 1 minute, I got all of their little intros that I made of them like with their rings and their like their name and their stats come up, and I put like music really underneath it. And then this time I was at and so I like got to talk about like each player and introduce them. I was like that to me is like where I want to push all the streams and add that sort of like building everybody up who comes to play.
That's cool.
I think it would be cool. Yeah,
awesome, folks. I'm gonna drop the link to chat for that. Go check that out. Chris with doing Gaia Project over there on the Dice Tower. There it is, right there.
It's so cool.
Hi, Omar.
I really want to do World Series of board gaming at some point. I feel like next year I'm gonna try to
come compete.
Just look, every time you talk about it, like it literally does have that like contagious excitement just about the hobby, because it's also something new and fresh. Like that was how I felt my first convention, like my first Gen Con. It was like, oh my god, this is my community. I want to do this forever. And now I've been going to conventions really regularly for a while, so it's kind of lost that sparkle. This feels like adjacent but different. It's exciting in a a way.
It's about like up leveling your skills and testing your skills, and every time I do a commentary, I feel like I've become a better board gamer, and I get a renewed excitement to go back into these games and to like play these games. I think that's really cool, and that's why I like the format is like 16 games, right? Because you're not going to be a master at all of them, but you might be good at one of them, and then you use your board
that's my
skills
fear is the like I can pick one game and get really good at that, but the idea of like mastering 16, that's so stressful.
Yeah. That's all you need. You pick the game that you're good at, you win it, you win the ring, and then then you're playing a random game with other people who are also playing a random game. You're on the same boat, right?
For sure. Yeah. But speaking about WSBG participants, we have Bonds in chat who says, WSBG bumped my gaming skills to the next level, and I got better at more comfortable at competing.
Blood Rage final table list. Bondsinator right there. I did the final table of Blood Rage.
The trailer for that new board game,
The Hobby.
That took place. That interview with Bonds took place at the WSBG, right? Yeah. That Bonds, while you're here in chat, I need you to know that gave me chills. I was like, I know her. Oh my god! Like we've hung out once or twice. Like that was seeing you in like a cinematic like setting that's taking board games really seriously. Oh, it was so cool. It gave me chills. I got like secondhand starstruck. I was like, I know her. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's really neat to see board games being portrayed like that and being that next level, right?
Oh,
it's so cool.
Yeah, I like ran and like showed that trailer to like my partner because I was like, this is my world. Look at it. Like it's being taken seriously because we feel so kind of in our own heads and in our own little world, and it's so cool to get any like ounce of external sort of validation or just like attention for this space.
Yeah,
it's really cool. So I'm excited to see the final version of the hobby.
It's gonna be good. Simon's actually from Toronto. He's the same city as me. The documentary maker. Yeah, so
nice.
I'm gonna try to play games with him when I get back. He's a super nice guy. Like he's super entrenched. Obviously, like he's super entrenched in the hobby. I think even just the title is so friggin' perfect.
Right?
Only somebody who's in it would know how perfect that is. Right?
For sure.
It's the title where when I read it, I was like, oh, someone who knows what they're talking about made this, because you wouldn't pick that unless you're in the space, because like from an external perspective, you're like, well, it's all hobbies, right? Like puzzling is a hobby, stamp collecting is a hobby. They're all hobbies, but because this industry uses it so frequently as a signifier, right? Like especially like we like when working for the op, right? We have the party game sector of the company, and then we have the hobby game set. Like the term hobby game is a thing beyond just like, oh, it's my hobby. And so I nerded out when I saw that. I was like, someone who knows what they're talking about is behind this, and that's exciting because obviously, like the biggest fear as someone like in a space this deeply as we all are in board games, the fear is like, oh, is it going to be misportrayed, or is it going to just be like really surface level? And literally seeing that and seeing the trailer that featured Bonds, I was like, ooh, okay, I have hope that this might actually
be a celebration,
like a cool representation of the space, and that's very exciting.
Totally. Yeah, it's a great word. Celebration, Chris. It totally is.
Yeah,
I love that. Speaking of celebration, why don't we celebrate by playing some Gartic Show?
Why don't we celebrate these games we love so much by butchering them on stream for all of you?
I don't know if I'm more stressed now, because I wasn't stressed, but I don't know if I'm more stressed now that we're going to be doing Gartic Show, that I'm going to be drawing, than I was playing. I think I'm less stressed because I can just blame it on the chat for not getting it.
For sure.
Oh yeah, totally. Blame chat.
I can really just gaslight everybody, which will feel pretty good.
Nice.
All right.
Okay.
So as a reminder for those of you who are just joining us, welcome to Gartic Show. This is the game where we draw board game covers badly from memory, and you guess what they are in chat. You're going to guess directly in chat, so you're going to write your answers in there, and the first person to get it right is going to be automatically recognized by the game, and you're going to get points for getting it right, and also for how quickly you get it right. Couple of quick house rules. Don't just spam names of random games before anything has been drawn, because I try to pick games that are relatively well known, and if you do that enough, you'll eventually be right. So try not to do that. Wait until something has actually been drawn before you start making your guesses. I will not do the full legal name of all of these games. I will try to pick, first of all, games that have easy names, but also the most common version of a game. So it won't be Through the Ages, A New Story of Civilization. It'll just be through the ages. It won't be a feast for Odin. It'll be feast for Odin. It'll be the thing that it most commonly is called. But I'll do my best. Sometimes I mess up, and what I think it's most commonly called is not what you think. So cut me some slack. I do my best. You have to type it exactly how I type it for it to be recognized. So if you do like sea salt, ampersand, paper, and you're like, I'm pretty sure that's sea salt and paper, but I didn't recognize it, try it with the word and, because that might be how I entered it. But I'll do my best to pick ones that don't have a lot of punctuation and weirdness to them.
And also too, if you want to have a good chance, always start everything by Ray's Retros presents Feast for Odin, because that's normally how it's written in.
Right, because that's what everyone calls it. John Trim says copy paste the BGG top 250 in Chitchat. Yeah, it'd probably work if you did that. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. We only have about half an hour, so I don't know if we'll get through all 15 of the rounds, but we can.
Okay. Well, we can shorten the timer. We can shorten the timer if we want.
Let's do that.
That's a bad idea. We can try. Well, we can shorten the rounds. We can make it 10 rounds instead of 15 rounds, but I would keep the 90 seconds because sometimes we need the 90 seconds.
Okay.
You know what? I'm going to be drawing a lot of these. Well, I don't know how many I'm drawing, but I'm going to draw a few. So I know mine are going to be gotten in like 2 seconds. So like I'm not that worried.
There you go.
Sure. Here. We'll do 10 rounds, and then if we have time for more, we'll do more. But we'll start with 10 rounds.
Okay.
And who would like to be our inaugural first?
I want
Chris,
to.
Do we want to throw you into the fire?
It's me.
Go, Chris.
It's me.
Yes. All right, Chris.
I also like really cognizant. All I want to do is say the name of the game as soon as I see it. And I normally don't mean to say it out loud. But I just like I feel that urge bubbling up inside of me right now, and I need to stop it. And I can't. I don't know if I can.
I believe in you. I believe in you.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Here's your first game, Chris. You ready?
I'm ready.
3. Well, I count down, but there's no point because you're going to see
3,
it.
2. Oh, I don't have to lag this time, which is great.
Oh yeah.
Ray's. I don't know this game.
Yes, you do. You've literally it's in a thumbnail of one of your videos. You can look it up if you want.
I've never seen this game in my entire life.
Yes, you have. Oh dude, I literally went through your videos.
Oh, okay. Well, if it's a crowdfunding countdown, this is friggin' tough. Okay. Well, all right, here we go.
Now you know it was crowdfunded, chat.
Well, yeah, that's narrows it down to 1900.
This looks cute though. You're doing good.
It does look really cute.
Some good. Ooh, look at that.
Okay. Wow, that's really good, Chris. Yeah.
Come on, I know.
Chat's got some good guesses.
I ain't no chump. Oh, that's not what I want.
Tyler's dad. Nice.
We got Shrek the game. Surprisingly, that's incorrect. It's also surprisingly not Everdell. This is the cover of the game.
Oh, Berlinger, I love that. Heat. It is not Heat.
Heat's a good guess.
It is a great
Heat's
guess.
along the lines.
Heat's close.
I don't even know if this is released yet.
Well, all right. Dodo's writing down as a good guess.
Oh
God.
Prison Pikachu is not it, Tyler's dad. Good guess.
All right, it was Dungeon Card. I'm sorry. It might not be out yet, but it was a big deal in crowdfunding recently, and you talked about it at one point. So.
I did. I definitely did.
I love that Chris had no idea at first. He's like, I've never covered this game.
Yeah. I would have put it in the thumbnail because I thought it looked funny. Fucking nice cover.
All right. Ruel, you want to be next? Or you want me to
go
next?
Yeah, I'll
that's
go next.
That's my.
All right, Ruel.
All right, everybody.
It's a racing game by Brotherwise.
It was on Kickstarter. Like, Tyler's dad said they backed that. Couldn't remember the name.
All right,
Tyler's dad. Were you excited enough to back it then, or no, or weren't you? Again, I don't think this is a real game.
This game?
Yeah, I don't think it. I'm just gonna say that about everything, just to FYI.
Incredibly helpful. Ruel?
Is that? I hope this is on the cover. I don't know. I don't think I'm drawing the cover now. Now I'm like going through this.
Not drawing the cover whatsoever.
Ruel?
Oh, that's pretty good though. That's a good enough clue. That's a good enough clue.
But I don't. That's not on the cover, is it?
This is the Catan problem all over again.
Oh,
the board is on the box. Yeah, D. Wills.
Yeah.
That's
what is on the box of this? I
It's
forgot.
like a bunch of like people playing their instruments in a car. And,
Oh,
like,
okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Oh my gosh. The first thing, I saw on tour. The first thing, of course, I'm thinking that map. I was like, it's got to be on the box cover, isn't it?
That's kind of the USA. Yeah, sure.
Looks like a bottle opener.
It kind of looked like the first thing I thought of was those like Wii Fit balance pads. It kind of has the general shape of those.
Yeah,
that's a good.
The Wii Fit, nice. Well, folks, you're used to my artistic skills by now, so. All right, who's next, Chris?
All right. It's me. Or we can just
Ray.
go back and forth.
Oh, Ray,
Ray,
you got to draw.
You do one, Ray. You do one, Ray. I'm going to come up with but your next one, Ray, I'm going to pick the box cover.
You want to do it? I'm down to have you pick it for me. I'll do the one I have now. You go.
Right,
you go look. You go.
I'm gonna go look. I'm gonna go look.
All right, chat.
Oh my goodness! Again, I can think of the board. I can't think of the box cover.
Oh yeah, no. This is a good one. This is a good one.
Oh,
and of course, Ray has spent the last week practicing this.
I know,
to
this
make
is
it the
like
most
art right here.
Perfect. The most perfect.
Wait, what?
Wow!
What the?
Killed it.
That's awesome. The cover of Last Lights, I think, pretty iconic. If you guys didn't get it based on this, after this part, I wasn't sure what I was gonna do, so I'm glad.
Yeah, we had a bunch of people. Cosmic Beat.
Yeah, well done.
John, they're all getting it. Yeah.
Very nice.
Well, Tyler's dad still is the one to beat.
Well
With
done.
69. Nice. 69 points. Well done.
Classic Tyler. If I know one thing about Tyler's dad.
All right, Chris, you're ready?
I'm ready.
God, okay. Well, now I feel stressed out. Okay.
Three, 2, 1.
Go, Chris.
No one's ever heard of this game before in their life.
Please.
Oh, I actually know what's on the cover of this. I know. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I thought this would be a silly one. Oh, that's actually pretty good.
That is really good.
Are you doing this from memory, Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah,
well done.
Okay, drawing is pretty fun. I feel good about this.
It's very fun.
Inspector Mouse. Yeah, it's close to Inspector
Mouse.
All right, Ruel, this one's coming your way.
Okay, let's see if I can remember the cover, folks. Oh my gosh. What is on this cover?
I believe in you.
I believe in you, Ruel.
I don't believe in you anymore.
Yeah, I don't believe in myself either after what I'm drawing here.
I don't believe in you anymore.
What is it on? Can I cheat? Can I look? I think
you can cheat.
Okay.
Go for it. Yeah, you can always, if you genuinely don't know, you can always look it up on BGG.
Okay. Okay, we're changing things around now. Here we go.
I believe in you more now, Ruel.
Thank you. Yeah.
This is looking more like what I expected.
Yeah, because I actually have the cover here now, and I still can't draw, but that's what makes it fun, folks.
There we go.
There it is.
Ooh, I gave it to. Oh, did you? Oh, you left at the end, Corthane. Oh,
Corthane.
Oh, yeah, well done.
Yeah.
Corthane was there, but left at the end. Cosmic Beat.
Yeah.
GG's.
Spleeter Duel was
my favorite.
An offshoot. That's the one you get on Temu.
Very nice.
That's the Temu version.
All right, Chris, do you have one for me?
Yeah, I got one. Okay.
I'm scared. Okay, let me pull up BGG just in case I need a.
No, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. I'll tell you, I was spending all this time just searching for games that had Ray in it. But unfortunately, there are no good ones.
I can't think of any.
And that would be unfair to chat. Okay, so I just press send. That's what I do.
Yeah,
and then I'll start.
Send it. Full send. Oh, I've never not known what game it's gonna be.
Yeah.
I don't like this. Oh hell yeah! Okay.
I mean, I'm a nice person. I'm here to support you instead of.
How well do I know this cover though?
Monster Cart.
Yeah, I would not know this cover.
Jeez, I've played.
Now I gotta cheat. I gotta go look.
I've played this game a million times.
I just thought you would know it because you played it so much. Here,
I think this is fully from memory. So,
that's just because of our clues.
I talked about it too much.
That's because we were talking about it too much. We're like, because I ruined it. I said you've played it too much.
Let me see if what I have in my head was right.
It's a big duck.
Yeah,
it's a duck with goggles.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I was so gonna be there. I was gonna give him like a weird Dutch angle for some reason, but I was there. I was 100% there.
Nice.
All right, that was too much. That was too much of a giving. Next one I'm giving you is Spleeter Duel. Okay.
All right. Who's this going to? This is going to Ruel.
Okay.
No, it's going to me.
No, Chris. It's Christopher.
It's Chris. Now I have to change. What am I giving Chris?
No, give me whatever you're going to give Ruel. It'll be better than Dungeon.
A Dutch angle or a duck angle, but
Oh, come on, baby.
You gotta know this one, Chris.
Do this?
Okay.
Wow.
Oh.
Huh?
I think.
I'm a little confused.
You're Radlands is a good guess based on that drawing.
I see what you're doing. Okay, yeah.
How else can I do this? I think it's perfect.
That's pretty much it.
I don't see. Oh no, not that. No.
We can talk about how much Chris loves this game, folks.
I don't see how else I could improve upon this drawing.
Yeah.
Hi, Game Raiders. Welcome on in. You gotta come save Chris. He needs your help. What game is this? There you go. That's helpful. That's good. That's good.
Yep.
Someone in chat. I believe in you.
It's a game that Chris really likes, folks. He's talked about it plenty of times on the R&R Show.
This was on our last travel games.
It was.
List. I needed to look because I wrote the same one, so I was like, I think I'm probably just doing duplicates.
There it is.
Yeah, Game Raiders. Well done. That
was really well done, Chris. Yeah.
I don't see how there's any difference from that and the cover.
The actual cover, yeah.
Like I don't understand. Like I think they made it in this one.
It was like a mirror image to me, so.
Oh, to be fair, the Contessa doesn't have glasses, so I think that threw people off. The Contessa has a weird. I've always seen these as glasses my entire life, but the Contessa
like weird
has
little.
It's a weird bead.
What is that?
It's a nose. It's a nose kini.
Okay.
Yeah.
It looks like she's wearing Christmas lights along her face there.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Nailed it.
All right, Ruel.
Okay, here we go.
This is for you. If you don't know it, look it up.
Okay.
Oh, Game Raiders guy.
I should just look it
up. Or you don't.
Like this.
Oh yeah, there it is, Chris. Perfect.
What all the fashionable people are doing.
Yeah, it's kind of like Doom.
Serving nose.
I need to look this one up. I do not know what's on the cover.
Serving looks.
I don't think this game exists.
Wow. Okay.
I'm fairly certain Ray made this game up.
Why is my mouse is freaking out? Mouse.
It's a nong. A nose thong.
A nong. Hey, I'm gonna do this. What the heck?
Tidal Blades is a good guess.
Based on the blue box?
Yeah.
Ooh, attack is also not bad. That's pretty good. That's looking pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Lots of Ocean. Oceans is a really good guess. I think Oceans also has a similar...
That is the correct whale. Yeah.
Dinosaur Island, good guess.
That's good content.
Whale Rider, guess.
You know, I'm gonna get in there and I'm gonna draw some. Oh no!
Oh, what was that? Was that
Sorry,
Chris?
I was gonna draw. Yeah, I was gonna draw some shapes, but we can't do it at the same time. I was gonna draw another person down here.
Yeah. I think it's fun as a group project.
You're doing great, Royal. Chat is letting you down.
Okay,
yeah.
I don't know what else.
Whale to look. I don't think that's a game. I think that sounds like a Ray game.
Whale to look it's an oink game.
Oh really?
Oh, Tyler's dad, you were so close.
So close.
Mistwind, Mistwind. It's got a flying
Thank
whale.
you, Tyler's
I
dad.
don't think it's out yet, but I feel like it's gotten a lot of buzz.
Morgan really thought the face was the dino's butt.
Okay, I'm giving you this one.
All right,
Ray.
Chris.
You ready?
Yeah, born ready.
There you go.
So ready.
Ooh.
Oh God, I don't know what this cover looks like.
What? Oh, I thought you would. There's some nice things, the easy things you can draw from it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Yeah, Ray, you got this. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, God.
Yeah, we need that.
There we go. Nope. we got a little bit like a witcha and a witcha.
The sound effects.
Yeah. And then like
I know what this is.
Yeah. The undead.
Killed it. I might have color blocked it a little bit, but like yeah,
Nice,
Dr. Crumb, well done. Well done. All right, last one is going to Chris.
Okay.
All right, Chris.
Chris, what am I giving you?
Give me something really hard, but that I know.
Really hard, but that you know.
Yeah.
I got you.
Okay. Okay, I do know this one.
Oh.
What was going on with that? What was going on with what had a Viking on it? That was Blood Rage. I've actually never played Blood Rage, which is why I didn't know what it looked like.
Ah.
It was in honor of Bonzinator.
I know.
Oh, Chris, well done.
Thank you.
Done.
I feel good about this. I'll also do this.
It's like looking at a mirror image of this cover.
Wow. Huh?
Oh, whoa! Wow.
I see where you're going.
The guy with the details over here. I love it.
I see. Don't wake Daddy.
Don't wake Daddy.
Yeah.
Cosmic Bee.
You know what? That's very fair. I should have put the script in the book. I got sidetracked with my monk. I was like, I can't just do the book.
That's a very good monk, dude.
That was
well
great.
Done. And congratulations, Cosmic Bee with 148.
Cosmic Bee.
Well, Tyler's dad with 69, Corthane with 63, D-Walls with 52, Beyond Dead with 32, and Game Artist Guy with 9 points. GG's,
everyone. Wow, that was great.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that Biblios. Well done.
What do you think about drawing, Chris? What'd you think?
I quite enjoyed it, but I didn't feel the thrill and the crushing blow of defeat. And so it didn't get my heart pumping as much, but I felt so incredibly great at drawing with paint and knowing board games, especially Dungeon Cart, my favorite game.
I saw it in the thumbnail of your crowd surfing, and I was like,
It's my number one.
Yeah.
That was great.
I know. I will say I did miss Chris panicking. The sounds like drawing screaming. As Chris is panicking and freaking out.
Yeah.
I missed that a little bit.
Yeah. So maybe... I did miss that as well. But I enjoyed playing. I enjoyed drawing it as well. I think we need somebody versus chat. Whoever it is doesn't matter.
Agreed.
If you want to list next time, I can be versus chat next time, and you can be all drawn all the time.
All right.
Cool.
Too many Game Smart people in here. I knew none of them. That's okay, Retro. That's okay. I had to dig for some of them because we went through a lot of like the really classic covers.
Yeah.
The problem is that the more we do this, the more deep cuts I gotta go for.
Well, we can switch up the games too. Like we're enjoying playing these games. We might switch them up to do some other ones at some point in time. Maybe some. I like Jackbox. I think we should do Quiplash.
Jackbox would be fun. Yeah,
I think we can get people in chat playing too. You know what I mean? Like we can get anybody who's subbed. Any subscribers get first go.
There you go. I like that. Speaking of subscribers, y'all are going to get in a battle royale right now. You're going to duke it out for some points. We're wrapping up the pre-show. Thank you again, folks, for hanging out with us. We're going to be doing the main show now, which is the top 12 travel games. But first, y'all get to duke it out and get some extra points for your little characters out here.
Sorry, Bonds. You said do board game designers, as in we have to draw the faces of board game designers in Gartic Show. That's what you're pitching, right?
That would be hilarious.
As long as I got that correct.
Yeah,
perfect.
I think I could name like maybe 5 board game designers from their actual picture in real life. Like once you start abstracting it with doodles, all hope is lost. Hope is lost.
I mean, they'd all look like happy faces, like a little happy face.
Like, well,
maybe with glasses for some of them. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, so who do we got here? We got the
be some of like the most reclusive like people in the industry. I find are board game designers.
Corthane and Dr. Prof are duking it out for the battle, and Corthane is our winner of the battle royale today. Well done, Corthane. GG. You got 100 gold to spend on your character. Thank you, Corthane, for hanging out with us today. Excuse me. I am going to get some stuff ready backstage here. Let's go to this scene.
I might go BRB real quick before we do the filming.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Take a break, folks.
While that's happening, let me give you a monologue of olden times.
Nice.
No. I do want to get this off my chest in terms of like stressful games that we played. I played a game of Ticket to Ride 2 nights ago on Easter Sunday, and I friggin' got cut off at every turn, and I thought I was gonna win still, and I thought I risked it to get the biscuit. I was able to get San Francisco to Chicago, LA to Toronto or New York or whatever. I got both of those in. I had a top down running along Miami, but I was unable to get that. I didn't get any 6 routes, any 6 level routes. And so I ended up losing that game by 1 point.
No, by 1 point?
Oh my! Yeah, to the person who got longest train, and I thought I had longest train, and then she counted it up a different way. And she's like, "Oh no, I have longest train." I was like, "Oh no!"
Brutal.
I was counting on that extra 10. I was like, "Okay, you know what? I had like 3 turns left in the game.
Yeah,
I decided not to draw tickets, even though my infrastructure was there to be able to potentially get those tickets. And it will eat me up until my dying day. I just want chat to know that in terms of like intense competition." Gartic Show, my loss sits with me. I think about it every night. I've practiced ever since. But this Ticket to Ride loss may be the most severe in anyone's career of Ticket to Ride ever. Not hyperbolizing.
Yeah, and John says, if only someone would make a video about how to win Ticket to Ride.
Well, tell me about it. I didn't follow my own advice. I couldn't get any 6 routes. And as soon as I had the cards to get 6 routes, somebody would take it the turn before. It was infuriating. And I had to take 2 little baby 3 routes. No wonder my score was so low. I was so mad. And then I was like, okay, perfect. I'm going to go up with Miami. I got 6 reds. Nope. Then somebody locked down the 2 right before I could do it. Like the turn before I was going to do anything. I friggin' got locked out of everything. I know it's awful. And I feel like such a sham and such a sham. But I am glad it's because I didn't follow my tips, which is why I lost in such an abysmal, horrendous fashion.
Now you know. Follow your own advice, my friend. And
so that's really how I've been this week, Chad.
Just bitter over a Ticket to Ride game, folks. Hopefully you'll get over that real soon, Chris.
I don't think I will.
It doesn't sound like you're gonna. That's the bad thing. The sad thing.
I think the Gartic Show win.
Yeah, the Gartic Show was funny. I mean. So isn't drawing fun though? I love the drawing part of that game. It's a lot of fun. Even though I can't draw, I think that makes it funnier. And good times. Ticket to Ride. Did you do the commentary for? Or was that part of the WSBG? I forget.
Yeah, it's part of WSBG. Like, I didn't do it live. We streamed one of them live.
Yeah.
So I think Ashton from Shelfside, David Waybright did that commentary. So we streamed that one live. But
cool.
I don't think I've ever done them in the past because it's a good one to stream live, right? Like you see the routes, you see people building up, you see when people lay down one track, you can be like, okay, I think this is the route, and then the pressure gets turned on, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Like as far as like championship level TTR, and we're gonna get to the show in just a minute, folks. Championship level TTR, are people just like hoarding all their tickets or their cards and then just boom, 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 or do they like lay it out?
It's it all depends on the tempo of the table, I feel, which is kind of cool because you need to get the routes that you need. And I think a lot of people know those sort of optimized routes too. And so there's a lot of competition fighting to lock things down, but then you don't necessarily want to telegraph too soon. Like I'm the type of player, I just hold on to like stacks and stacks of cards.
Same.
Look where that got me.
Yeah, Ticket to Ride,
Gotcha.
1 point short. That's where it got me.
Is it in the WSBG?
It is. Yeah.
Just base, like the US map?
Just base.
Or?
Base US,
Gotcha.
You can come and play in that.
There it is.
You can do it. I was saying I played a game the other night and I lost by 1 single point, and it was devastating.
Brutal.
That's what I was doing to fill time.
That would haunt me
while you were away.
Okay.
It does. It does to this day. Let's do the show though. Hey,
let's do that. Okay.
All set up.
Folks, we're all set up on this end. Friends, if anyone raids or comes on in, please welcome them and let them know that we're recording this for YouTube's. And we'll be back for the post show. We're going to talk about more games and hang out with you all. So thanks again. Hi, Foglight and friends. We're going to have Richard do the intro. He's got the intro with our sponsor. And we'll come to this scene, Top 12 Games. And Ray, Chris, we good to go?
Let's do it.
All right. Here we go.
But sure.
Okay. Okay. Here we go.
Hey everybody, this week's R&R is brought to you by the Ultimate Game Night Bag. And hello everybody, I'm back home after almost half a year on the road. I am once again surrounded by my beautiful babies here in my little filming room with my microphone and my cameras and all that, and the Ultimate Game Night Bag, which is sponsoring this week's recap. And I just want to give you a quick tour of the basics. Let's start with the outside. It's basically standard size, so you could actually use it as overhead compartment luggage on a flight if you were flying with it, but it's got lots of different ways to carry. You can hold it as a duffel. You've got the overhead to carry and keep all your games inside flat. Along the back, of course, it can be a backpack with incredibly reflective stripes, by the way. These things really pop quite a bit. And I have to admit, I was kind of surprised when I first saw it that it includes cup holders on both sides, which is a nice touch. Haven't really seen that. But it's not so much for carrying your beverages, although that's nice. It's actually for carrying your game mats, because you can slot your game maps in here, strap them here, and they're not going anywhere. Very, very clever design there. But then, of course, that's the outside. And man, folks, I gotta tell you, this thing is sturdy. In fact, let me see, I think I've got a video of the developers of it actually using a forklift to put this thing through its paces. They overloaded it, and then drove around on bumpy roads to see if it could survive. And if you want to see that and more stuff on the Kickstarter page, there's a link for it down in the show notes. Anyway, though, folks, that's the outside. The inside, as you might expect, is where you put your beautiful babies. Lots of room for lots of games. You expect, this one big central cavity, but there's some fun extra stuff as well. On the front, you've got space for, tiny games. Have you tried this, folks? This is fantastic as an aside, or, writing utensils, whatever you might need. There's also another one on the top for even more games, although actually I kind of like it for carrying a laptop or tablet or other sorts of things. So anyway, this is a wonderful bag, incredibly sturdily made, a lot of flexibility and variety, and some cool new features as well. And it's going to be crowdfunding, folks, for a few more days. There's a link for the Kickstarter page down in the show notes if you'd like to learn more. And now, without any further ado, let's get on with the R&R.
And welcome, friends, to R&R episode number 87. I'm Ruel, hanging out with Chris and Ray. As always, thank you, Richard, for that wonderful intro. The bag looks awesome. I need a new bag, and really Chris is celebrating.
Looks fantastic.
As always. How the heck are you, friends?
I love pockets.
Yes.
Let's go.
Pockets are always a good thing. Yes.
No, that looks really great. For the longest time, I was very on the fence about the whole board game backpack thing because they always look kind of, in my opinion, a lot of them look kind of dorky.
Yeah.
And this one, I like that we're finally trending towards like sleek. Not like it's a giant backpack, right? Like it's gonna look like a giant backpack, but I like that we're coming up with like slightly sleeker, more modern looking designs. And like that one is one I would actually use and I would carry around at a con.
Yeah.
When you said dorky, I was going to say, you know what hobby we're in, right?
Yeah, I know. But I was like, we don't need to like lean into it so heavily, you know. And I like the style of that one a lot, actually.
Definitely. So thanks to Mayday Games for sponsoring this episode. Yeah. And welcome, friends. What we're doing is our top 12 travel games because, as you saw, Richard and Jen have been traveling for the last few months, and they're back home now. And we figured this is the perfect opportunity to talk about those games that we like to take on the road. So we're going to start with, I believe, Chris, you've got our number 12. Is that correct?
Yeah. This is a game.
I'm so
Ray.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Ray, go for it.
I was gonna say, do we want to talk about like how we're defining travel games? Like we typically like define our terms a little bit.
I would love for you to define it for us.
No, shut up. I didn't know if anyone. I mean, like I can talk about what I was thinking, but I don't know if anyone had like. I don't know, thoughts on it.
I think that is a great thing, and I will be kicking myself over not mentioning it first. And now you get all the glory.
Yeah.
And I would like to give you that glory like a Gowron the Klingon.
A nice reference, Chris.
For glory.
For glory. Ray, why don't we let's talk about this.
I wasn't trying to steal Chris's thunder. I was just going to say that. Okay, well now I feel
I have no thunder to be stolen.
Oh my god! All right, keep it short. I was thinking for travel games, not just like a small box game that you can take with you and then you can play, you know, wherever. I was thinking games that also kind of had a small footprint. So games that you could also play like while you're traveling. So games that in theory you could play on like an airport, like in a plane on that like little pull-out tray that they have, or like, you know, in an airport while you're waiting. Something that also has a relatively low footprint, or, you know, something you could put in one of those tiny pockets in a board game backpack. You know, something that doesn't need that big main compartment, but a little tiny one.
Perfect.
That's all I was gonna say.
I agree. No, I think that's a great.
Travel
that's a
games,
great point.
I feel like it could mean a couple different things.
Yeah. And I think it is worth repeating that we have done this list before.
That's true.
Ray has not, but myself, Ruel, and Richard. I mean, Richard will probably mention this as well. He likes to shout those out. But I wanted my initial thoughts were just travel games, and that's what I did for the previous list. And then Ray brought that up, and I thought, okay, I'm going to try for that small footprint. So I'm saying if you have 3 people, or 1 or 2. That you're playing these games with in an airplane, I think these games can also fit. Maybe just barely on the airplane tray tables. That was also my goal. And I think it makes for an exciting list.
Yeah.
Well, did you add to the excitement with this, or are you going to just let both myself and Ray down?
I'm going to let you all down because I decided, like Chris has said, we had done this list before in the past, and I wanted to choose some different games that I feel have sort of captured my fancy lately, and I feel like these are the games that I would travel with. Now, not necessarily small footprints, but because you travel with them, they do tend to be smaller anyways. These are games that I'm thinking, if I go on vacation with Michelle, these are the 3, or for my choices, 3 games that I would throw in our backpack, or really cool board game bag on the plane and go wherever and play these. So, yeah, now that that's taken care of, thank you, Ray, and thank you, Chris, for setting that up. Chris, let's lead things off with number 12.
Well, my number 12 is Oathsworn. No, it's just Frosthaven. No, sorry. They can fit in the bag. If it's just fitting in the bag, it's fitting in the bag. That's fine, right? No, okay, my number 12, our collective number 12 is a little game that was back in 1988. It came out. It's a very small card game. It's sort of a speed game. It's a Mensa Selects game, and that is the game Set. I think this game is awesome. It's a wicked game for great people. If you're a good person, you'll like this game. But all you need is those 12 cards laid out in front of you, because it's a speed game. You're trying to pattern match, basically. So very simple. You could do it on an airplane. You could do it on a single airplane tray table as well. And the goal of the game, as you're seeing on the screen, is to create sets. Now, what is a set? A set is 3 cards, and each card has something on it that has 4 different characteristics. There's a number. There is a shape, circle, squiggle, diamond. There is a color, red, purple, green, depending upon the printing. Who knows what the colors are? And then there's a texture. I like to call it texture. Nothing, kind of shaped and solid, like lines or solids, right? To create a set, you must pick 3 cards that for each one of those characteristics, they must either be all the same or all different. Now, they don't all have to be the same. You can have all the same number and then a different texture, a different shape, a different color, right? And so knowing that, they just have to all match. There can't be only 2 of one and one of the other, right? So you're seeing a number of different sets that have been going by on the screen. The back of the box shows different sets that you can create. And so if you look on the screen, it was just taken. Another thing was just taken. Now they deal out more cards. And as soon as three cards are taken, you deal out 3 more. The person who gets the most sets at the end of the game wins. To claim a set, you say set. That seems pretty easy. You say set. And then you point out the set, and people say, that's a real set, and you take it. And if it's not a real set, you have to give away like one of your sets, one of your points. It's great. It gets your brain thinking and like pattern matching in different ways. Super easy to play. And I was also being cognizant of this airplane thing because of timing. You don't want to stop a game halfway through. So really, maybe this should be my number 1, because it's so versatile. You can pull it out. You can stop midway. Like, it's one of those games where, like, it doesn't matter. You just want to play a little bit of it, and you get the same taste of it regardless how long you play. That's set. Boom.
Yeah.
Number 12.
Man, I haven't thought about set in so long.
Same.
That game's great. I feel like it's such an oldie but a goodie. I never would have thought of set. I can't remember the last time I played set, but I love set. That's a game I played a lot when I was younger, and it holds up really well. That's a great pick.
It's one of the first games when I got in the hobby 8 years ago, Chris. It was one of the first games that someone had gifted to me. It's like, oh, you're into board games. Here's this. I was like, I have no idea what this is. But then I played. I was like, oh, this is really cool.
Surprisingly good.
It's surprisingly good. Now, here's the one problem I have with it, though, unfortunately. Colorblind accessibility.
Oh, yeah.
It is not the most colorblind friendly game. And I realized that, I was like, oh, wow, I have trouble seeing these colors. Oh, that's right. I am colorblind. And unfortunately.
Oh, are you?
Yeah. So that's when it really, one of the games, this one and actually the original Splendor were the 2 games that said, hey, Ruel, you have red-green color blindness. I was like, oh. So, but regardless, it's a fantastic game. For what it was, for what it is, I think it's a great game.
Totally.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on to our number 11. This one's my choice, and this is one of those games that I recently fell in love with, and I don't know how available it is. I'm not going to lie, I don't have a copy of it, but I played this a bunch of times over at Gamma Expo a couple of months ago. This is a game. It's our collective number 11 called Pray Another Day, and Pray Another Day, folks. It's this fun little game about animals. Everyone's got a set of animals. You can see here a bear, a wolf, a lynx, an owl, and a mouse. We all have the exact same cards in our deck, but we're going to play them at different times because you're going to play a card face down, and then everyone's going to reveal simultaneously, and then whoever has, like, say, the bear, or in this case, the wolf, if you have by yourself, if you have the wolf, and that's the only wolf played, then you're going to be able to prey on the other animals that are below you in the food chain, like the lynx, the owl, or mouse. However, like, let's say Chris and I or Ray and I both play the bear, then they sort of like, oh, we're confused. There's 2 bears, so we're not going to prey on anyone.
Cancels it out.
It cancels it out, yeah. So you play this. You can get eliminated in a round, but the rounds go by really quickly. And at the end of the round, if you're the one that was able to prey on other animals, you'll get 2 victory points. If you just survive, you'll get 1 victory point. You play that until one player gets exactly 5 victory points or more, and then they win the game. It's a super simple game, but the artwork is lovely. It plays so quickly, and I don't know what it is. It just really surprised me about this game. I loved it. And shout out to Sam over from oh gosh, what's the company's name? I forget the company's name. But Sam works for a board game company, retailer up in Oregon, Portland, and he showed me this game, and I was like, I've never seen this, and we literally played like a dozen games, our whole little group there at Gamma Expo.
Nice.
It was wonderful, and here's Mike DeLisio from the Dice Tower talking about it. A lot of fun, folks, and that's why it's our number 11 travel game, because all it is a deck of cards and some victory point counters. Pray another day.
Yeah, I've never heard of this game.
No, me neither.
Cute, though. No.
Yeah,
I've heard of games with a similar feel. I like that feel of bluffing your opponent, right? Like, anything that lets me just say, "Oh no, I'm playing a bear. I'm playing a bear every turn." Except I would never play a bear in any game, because famously bears have kidnapped my entire family, and I'm still recovering from it.
Oh, I'm sorry to bring that up.
Yeah, Ro, that's really insensitive of you.
I totally
traumatized. Would be pretty hard for me to win this game.
Yeah.
But,
this one apparently it's from Pegasus Spiel. I believe it's I think you can get it in the US now, but really cool game. I like this type of thing, Chris, where it's that whole trying to outthink your opponent in really simple ways. But it sort of reminds me of, there's this game from way back in the day called Get Bit. And it's, you're playing numbers and you're trying to like not get bit by the shark. But if you're in the last play, like depending on what number you are, you have little swimmers and you would swim ahead. But if you all play the same number, then you don't swim at all, and then the shark bites the last person.
Yeah,
has a similar effect to that. But number 11, folks, Pray Another Day. Let's go on to number 10, which is going to go to Ray.
Ray Another Day.
Ray Another Day.
List. My number 10. It's probably going to get me a smidgen of crap in the comments from people saying, that's not a board game. And to you, I say, broaden your mind, okay? Be more fun.
Nice.
This is Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza. It is a very simple...
That's not a board. Oh, shoot.
There it is.
Open your mind. Be more fun. This is Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza by Dolphin Hat. It is a very simple slapping game where you're going to go around. Everyone's going to take turns flipping a card and saying one of the words in the phrase Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza. So if I go first, I go taco and I flip over a card, and the next person goes cat and they flip over a card. If at any point the card that you flip over matches the thing that came out of your mouth, because obviously it's a deck of various cheeses and goats and tacos and cats, if it ever matches what you say, you have to slap the deck, and you'll see that's in the gameplay. Everyone's slapping the deck, and the person who was the last to slap has to take the stack of cards. There's a couple special cards, like I think the gorilla, you have to pound your chest and then grab it. The unicorn, you have to clap above your heads. It's really silly and funny. There's a bunch of different themes for like different holidays and stuff. The people who work on this game have been always really sweet and really cool. They have really great social media marketing, which I just like, as someone in that world, I am very fascinated in how they've gone about marketing this game. And the reason it's on this list, it is just a simple, fun slapping game, but it is literally when I have that little extra space in my bag, I always grab this because it is a deck of cards. And I think it's some of the most fun you can get out of just a deck of cards.
Right.
And also when I think about travel games, if I'm like, I'm typically the hoster in my game group. Like I have all the games, people come to my house, we spread out over the big game table. If I'm ever traveling somewhere and bringing games, I'm usually just like bringing some supplementary games, right? We're usually going to someone else's house that has the games, right? So when I'm thinking about travel games, a lot of the games on my list, on my personal list for this, are party games, are filler games, right? Because like, that's when I'm thinking about going somewhere and bringing games, I typically end up reaching for party games. Because that's usually in the scenario in which I'm traveling, I'm just bringing some fun, silly filler party games, and Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza, Jesus, it's hard to say, is truly genuinely like the game I reach for the most when I'm like just stuffing that little extra corner of my bag, because it's just a deck of cards.
Yeah.
I just like that you categorize this as one of the best slapping games out there. I
own several. Okay?
I've had some slapping games before in my time, and it always leaves me with just an imprint on the side of my face. I did not like playing them, so this sounds a little bit nicer.
It can get painful if you're wearing rings and stuff. This can get pretty, pretty brutal.
Yeah, I really enjoy this, Ray. I'm glad you put this on the list. It's you talk about travel. If you really think about it, as we travel, we take these games. You don't know where where you're going to end up, but you don't always know who you're going to interact with. And games like these, like Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza, are so simple to learn, and I think plays well with a really broad audience. And,
So like that was definitely one of the things I was thinking of for these. Like there are some like 2-player specific games that I left off my list because I'm thinking like I'm traveling. I want to be able to like anyone that I meet on my travels. I want to be able to be like, hey, you want to play a game? And bring out a game I can teach in a few minutes. So
nice.
For sure.
Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza.
Great call.
Or whatever version, because there's so many.
There's so many.
Yeah. I recently got I think it was the Women's World Cup version, which was like,
oh, cool.
Yeah, a friend of mine gifted to me. I was like, really cool. So, instead of the gorilla or whatever, it's cool. Got, you have to say goal or something.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, it was
my
really
favorite
cute.
version is I have the Butts edition, which is the original deck of cards, but all the drawings are just turned around and it's their little bums. It's like all the original drawings, but just like from the back. I think it's like Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza on the flip side or something, and it's literally they're all just backwards, and I think that's really cute.
Very cute game. Okay, let's move on to our number 9. Richard's got that for us. Take it away, Richard.
All right. I love talking about travel games so much. I think this is now the 4th time I have tackled this topic. A decade ago, and then last year we did one on a previous R&R. I have also separately done a RV lifestyle games, which is very travel adjacent. And I just spent a half a year on the road, so I've got a lot of thoughts, but I've got to limit myself, which is why, folks, you always want to stick around for the post show. There's a link for the extended edition down in the show notes. We'll talk about a bunch more travel games. But first of all, I gotta say, well, Ray, Chris, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never heard of Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza or Pray Another Day. I'm looking forward to seeing the show to hear more about them, though. I have heard of Set, never played it. I probably really should, though. But anyway, I am certain everybody has heard of number 9 on the list and probably played it, too. What is it? It is So Clover. And this is fresh in my mind. There's Kimberly of Tabletop Tolson doing a great run-through demo of it. I got to play this with my wife Jen for the first time on our road trip. Dan King, the Game Boy Geek, introduced it to us. And I have to admit, I'd always been interested in the game, but I'd never played it because officially it's a 3-player minimum game. But here's the first thing you need to know about So Clover, folks. It's a phenomenal 2-player game, and it's absurd that it doesn't say that on the box. Just use the codename Duet, or the codename is it codename Duet or codename Duels? The 2-player codename rules for this works brilliantly. And honestly, I think it's a better 2-player game, arguably, than Codenames. So what is it? Well, it's very Codenames adjacent. Players end up with a clover where they've got to come up with 4 clues for the way that 4 cards get laid out. Then they hand it to the other players, and the other players try to figure out, right, what did Kitchen, Noodle, and Office? Well, yeah, that kind of makes sense, but what if it was Noodle and Mint? And Mint should be over here with Kitchen, because where else would you find Mint except in the kitchen? And you're trying to figure this stuff out. It's absolutely brilliant. It's so much fun to play. It's a fun little video of Kimberly's to watch right here, and I highly recommend it. It's great to take on the road because sometimes you just need games for the board game newbies that you run into, and anybody can be up and running with this game in no time. But then again, for me, it's extra important because when I'm traveling, I'm mostly just there to play games with Jen, and this is a phenomenal 2-player experience. The box lies, folks. Thank you, Dan King, for making me aware of this. I've already gotten my own copy of it, which I will always travel with in the future. Number 9 on our combined list, So Clover.
That's so interesting. I really enjoy So Clover, and we might have had that on our top party games list before. I'm not sure, at least an honorable mention. But as a 2-player game, I wouldn't have thought it was a good 2-player game, but apparently it is.
Me neither. Yeah, that's great.
No.
Yeah, it is a Clover game. It is very Clover. It's very good. I really enjoy that one.
My gripe with So Clover is that it's cooperative. I homebrewed a little competitive version of it just because I'm like, well, but what if it was? What if we fought? What if we weren't on the same team?
How do you do it competitively?
Oh, I don't remember. I have the rules written out somewhere. Because my family is the same way too. So my mom and I sat down one day and we're like, how can we make this not cooperative?
Nice.
You can speed round it, right? Like as soon as you flip over the cards, everybody has to write down.
I think we just did team gameplay or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Nice.
But I love the concept of it. I like my competitive party games.
Totally fair. Totally fair. Okay. Cool. So that was our number 9. Let's move on to our number 8 travel game. Back to Chris.
My number 8, I really like this game in terms of talking about small box games, and I'm glad that I didn't include it on the previous travel list so that I had something to talk about now. This I think could work on maybe 3 airplane tray tables. I don't know. You'd have to stretch it out.
You got
have
lucky
to modify
and you got
the
an
board
empty
a
middle
bit.
seat or something.
Yeah, you might have to be traveling with 3 people, but it works best as like 3 to 4 game. This is a chunky game in a very small box. It's Masks, and this is one of those games which it's got such a small footprint that I don't find I pull it out that much, because when I'm thinking about games to play, I don't look on my like small game shelf, because I'm like, oh, that's a small game. And then when I look at the small game shelf, I think, oh, that game's too long and it's got too large an experience. And so like I rarely, I haven't played this in a long time, but it's not going anywhere on my shelf because I think it's really solid. Whenever I did a list of like underrated games, this was super high up. Basically, you have all these cards that represent like the houses, the rooms of this hall. You're in a grand hall, and you belong to a noble Italian family. You have the green family or the blue family. They have actually Italian names, but it doesn't matter. But on at the beginning of each round, you draft cards, and you can be drafting your strong family members of your house, or maybe you're drafting the strong family members of somebody else's house. And so you get access to everybody's cards, and on your turn, you place down a card somewhere in between a location, and whoever's family member has the higher number will win that thing in the location. And so it's all about, okay, I want to get these things. If I get 5 of one type or 4 of one type, I win the game. Or if I get like 2 of all the types, I win the game. I forget the numbers, but that's the gist of it. And so it's a really fun drafting of, okay, what do I do? What do I play for? What can I win? What are other people going to go for? It's a really slick of what do I play? When do I play it? And you can also spend your money that you've gathered, because sometimes you just win money instead of like items. You can spend that on stuff in the middle. These are like superpowers, one-time powers that you can take, and give you like swapping abilities and push things out one way or the other. It's really solid, and it's a great little small box game.
Nice. I've not heard of this one before. Chris, this is really really cool. Do you know who publishes it, or?
I think it was FFG.
FFG. Oh wow,
yeah.
Wow. So
I think FFG, and also strange because it's such a small box.
Yeah.
But FFG is on my copy. I don't know if they still publish it or not.
Okay.
But it maybe somebody else got the license to it. But I think it's so surprising that it was FFG.
Yeah.
And
I just assumed, with FFG, they'd slap on some Star Wars or something on here, or Lord of the Rings, and retheme it. But it seems interesting. Now, is it is it an area control thing where you're trying to get the most in one area and then to grab that?
Kind of. I mean, each one of those rooms, those like little corridors, has an item in it.
Yes.
And you want to win those items, but you want to be strategic about which items you win when. Right, and try to get either, and there are multiple win conditions, so you can really steam ahead and try to go for one thing, but then people will try to block you, or you can try to diversify, and so like that helps keep the pace of the game, because eventually somebody will hit that win condition.
Got it. Cool.
Yeah, so it's like strategic placement, like tile, even like tile laying, placement, but the rounds go back and forth. I love it. I love the drafting element to it, and that like you can have my most powerful family member and you decide where it goes, and then it's timing out like, okay, well that's gone there, can I do something to push it over, or do I have to take that thing and then pivot with what do I have in my hands? So
oh, I love that. That's so cool. Wow, what a cool
I've never heard of that before.
Okay.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Ray. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it's interesting, that curse of the strategic small box games, because I feel like everyone has the small box corner of their calyx, and it's 90% party games, so you're just like, that's the party game corner. And I find myself hitting that trap all the time, where I have a couple of small box strategic games that just don't get to the table as often, because my eyes literally just don't go over to the small box section when I'm looking for a strategy game. So I just thought that was interesting that you said that. But
that's so true.
No, game looks cool. I've never heard of it before.
Have to check that.
That's really good.
Nice. Excuse me. Okay, let's move on to our number 7. Thank you, Chris, for number 8. Number 7 is it's back to me. Now this one, Ray sort of touched on this earlier about how when you travel, you want something to play with a bunch of different people or whatnot. This one, I'm bringing it back. This is a game that I would travel with Michelle, and we're the only ones playing it. It's just for us.
That's fair. That's totally fair. Well, you pick whatever games you want.
So this one's Splendor Duel. I love this game. I think this is a masterpiece of a design. It takes Splendor, which I love, but makes it even better. Changes, excuse me, changes things up as far as the gems that you're collecting. You can't just select gems anymore. You have to go on the board. They're going to be available there. Excuse me. I'm gonna take a quick break here. I've got a frog in my throat or something. Hold on.
Well, we'll describe it to the viewers while you do that. What I like about Splendor Duel is that the fact that, different than Splendor, there are 3 win conditions. You can be going for points. All the cards have points on them. All the cards also have crowns on them. Well, not all of them, but some of them do.
Yeah.
And you can get 10 crown points. And then the third win condition is something else. It's a certain number of points in one specific color. That's what it is.
Oh, yes.
You can just be, and so it's a less number of points. And so I really love that diversification. In addition, there is that limit of the gems, like in regular Splendor, but the way that they're put out is that they go back into the bag, and they have to be pulled out again. And so you have to pick the gems in a line, and so that like really defines how you're gonna have this flow, and when you're gonna make your opponent refill it, or versus you refilling it, because then everybody else gets a bonus. So it's a really nice take on Splendor.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris, for as I cough up my lung here. I appreciate you taking over.
That's why there's 3 of us here.
Yeah, right? We're here for each other. I appreciate you too. And as Chris said, that's what makes this game, in my opinion, really, really fantastic. Is just those little added elements. Like you play it, you're still playing Splendor. It is still Splendor. It's still got that light engine building thing going with the gems and whatnot. But it does add those few elements that I think make it a better game overall. And this is one that Michelle and I have actually traveled with in the past, where we'll have in the bag, and it's a little tight on an airplane tray, but at a cafe or whatever hotel room you're at, it does fit perfectly for that. So wonderful game. I mean, we still play regular Splendor, but if we have a choice, we'll always pick Splendor Duel, and that's why it's our number 7 for our top 12 travel games.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit while you were, you had your frog in your throat. But we both love this game. This game kills Splendor for me. I vastly prefer it to OG Splendor.
Totally. Okay, that was number 7, and I think my throat is okay. So let's move on to number 6. Gonna pass it over to Ray.
Oh, is it me? Oh.
Is it you? I think so. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, it is me. Okay, hi. Yeah, sure. So this is a game that I think I briefly touched upon this in maybe a couple of other videos, but I don't think I've formally picked it for anything, and I think it really, really hits this category very well. And that is That's Not a Hat, which is still one of my favorite games to come out last year. It's super simple. When I pitch it to people, I'm like, it's remember 3 cards, the game. That's literally all you're supposed to do. You're supposed to look at some cards in front of you and remember what they are. So basically, you're going to take a card in front of you, and it's going to be like a boot or something, and you're going to flip it face down, and you're going to pass it to the person, depending on which direction. There's arrows in the back of the cards that tell you which way to pass it, but you pass it to your left or right, and you tell that person, hey, this is a boot. And they go, okay. And they either believe you or they don't believe you. And at the start of the game, you believe everyone because everyone starts with their cards face up. You turn them face down before you pass them. But eventually, everyone's cards are going to be face down. And you're going to have to remember where that boot has traveled across the board. And it's a kind of bluffing style game where if you say something confidently enough that people know exists somewhere at the table, like you don't know if yours is a boot, but there's a boot at the table, and you haven't heard anyone claim that their card is a boot in a while, so you're like, maybe I have the boot. And if you say this is a boot with enough confidence, you can kind of squeak through. And one of my favorite things about this game is that all it takes is like one person to mess up, but mess up confidently for everyone to just be like, yeah, that's the boot, duh. And I love at the end of the game, or when someone finally gets called on it, when you flip over a card and it's not a boot. We all thought it was a boot this whole time. It's super simple. I've talked about this a bunch on this channel before, but I love games that don't sound like games. You describe this game to someone and they go, huh? That doesn't sound good. That actively sounds really bad. That is what I thought when I was first taught That's Not a Hat. It's surprisingly good. And if you've been on the fence about it, I encourage you to give it a shot because it plays a lot more fun than it sounds. And it is just a deck of cards, which makes it perfect for this theme. I also have been throwing this in my purse recently when I go over to friends' houses. So yeah, that's not a hat.
I'd like to thank you, Ray, for explaining it in a way that me as a Canadian could understand, and now I really know what it's all about.
Well done.
Nice, Chris. Ray, this game, like you, it totally surprised me. It came out of nowhere last year, and again, it's one of those games. It sounds pleasant. It's a nice activity. No, it's a hilarious game. It's on my, those meter. I have that meter where it's like, how loud does a game get? And this is one of those games that is very loud and very funny. Always a good time. That's
my favorite kind of game too.
Same.
I think that's one of the things. Again, I touched on this a little bit earlier, but I love like the marketing side of my brain is always interested in like how games get popular, and this one's so interesting to me because it came out of nowhere. It didn't get a lot of like pre-release hype, but it got a lot of word of mouth because you're like, no, you have to try it. You won't believe me until you try it. Like that. Everyone that I've talked to, it's someone emphatically saying, no, you have to try it though. Like that. And that has been very interesting from a marketing perspective to see like, how do you create a game that gets good word of mouth buzz? Well, sometimes it's making a game that doesn't sound like a game and people want to talk about it and convince you that it's actually really good. I enjoy it both as a player, but also as like a professional in the space, seeing how that game came out of nowhere and got really popular. And I think that's definitely plays into it.
Yeah, I think like the example that I think about from a few years ago was the game The Mind. When that hit,
oh yes,
again, all I heard was nothing but it was word of mouth, and people were like, "Is this a game?" Or it's like, you got to try it. It sounds really silly, or it doesn't sound like a game. But when I played, I was like, okay, now I see why. And of course, I bought a copy, and then I bought 3 other copies for friends, and just that's just the way it goes. Yeah, certain games just hit like that.
You just have to try. Like it sounds like nothing.
Yeah.
And I know some people still are like, they play The Mind and they go, that was nothing, and that's valid. But I like games where like you can't judge it by its cover. You have to try it and actually see how it plays out. And
absolutely,
That's Not a Hat is definitely one of those.
For sure. Great choice. Okay, let's move on to Richard, who's got our number 5. Richard, take it away.
All right, continuing on. Chris Ray, you still stump me. I have never played the hat game, but I've heard about it. Didn't we put it on the party list recently? Yeah, I'll get to play it someday, but I'm sure it's not a very good 2-player game. And Masks, I don't even know about that one, Chris. You've totally stumped me. Well done. Again, I am very much looking forward to this episode to hear about all these new games that are new to me. But, well, definitely Splendor Duel, you really piqued my interest when you covered it on the channel. Playing with Michelle, I have to admit, Splendor was a total damp squid. Went over like a lead balloon for me and Jen. We did not like it at all, but Splendor Duel looks like a very different game, and for my money, probably a much, much better game. But anyway, let's talk about now our combined number 5 on the list. Oh my gosh, folks, I am so excited to tell you about Inheritors. Here it is right here. Look at it, it's such a tiny little box. It's just a deck of cards, but this game has so much gameplay baked into it. Basically, Ruel, you're going to be interested because this is effectively Reiner Knizia's Lost Cities on steroids. Imagine the core ideas of that game that, hey, I'm trying to play straights in front of me, but sometimes I have to give up cards from my hand to get other cards that I want, knowing that when I put them into the common discard pile, they might be exactly what you want. That's the Lost Cities formula, works wonderfully here, but this game takes it so far above and beyond. Yeah, I've got cards, I'm trying to play them in suits to get more points, but if I set collect these cards and play them, I can unlock secret quests that only I can chase after. If I reach certain levels of these straights that I'm trying to play, I can unlock cool special power characters. And every time you play, there's going to be a different combination of 5 of them that we are racing to be the first to be able to control that will change the game up. Also, when I'm giving up cards, I could either be doing it to draw a blind from the deck to try and find the cards I want, or if I give up cards that match, there's 3 discard piles. If I give up cards that match the cards in other piles, I can grab big chunks of cards and add them to my hand. Everything about this game is absolutely brilliant. It's from a new-to-me designer, Jeffrey CCH. I've been talking about him more and more, and I am blown away. So is Jen. Look at this. We get so much gameplay, and it works great for 2 players, and you can play it at higher player counts, depending on who you meet on the road. It's pretty easy to teach, a little bit more on the complex scale than my last one, So Clover, but I am head over heels in love with our number 5, Inheritors.
Okay, Richard, you had me at Reiner Knizia's Lost Cities, but more complex. You've sold me. I had heard about this game. I remember there was a lot of hype about Inheritors at the last Gen Con, and for whatever reason, just didn't grab me. But it's because no one mentioned the good doctor's name. You mentioned that doctor's name, and I'm all in. Chris, what do you think?
I mean, it was startling. As soon as that happened, Ruel got out of his chair and bolted towards the door, heading up to the game store. Forgot that we were live streaming. Ray and I were screaming behind the scenes.
Got him to come back.
Ruel, please come back, come back. He got back just in time. But I mean, I think that's all you need to. That's all we really need to know about. Really.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah. Have y'all been able to play Inheritors yet? I haven't, but I
hadn't even heard of it.
Yeah, I'm super excited to give it a go. Okay, thank you, Richard, for that. Let's get back, continuing the list. That was our number 5. We got number 4, almost to the top of the list, folks. Chris, this is yours.
Well, I wish I could have a three-peat here with games that Richard doesn't shout at me about, but I hope he does for this one, because I'm very passionate about this one. That's the way to do it. I just need to. I don't want to put myself up on a pedal stool here, but that's what we got to do. You just pick games that he hasn't played, and then I don't get yelled at. But I'm very excited for this pick. I'm very excited for this pick. Because this is revolutionized my way to play this game. This game has an expansion in it, and the expansion is a must. It is the only way this becomes a travel game. This is Seven Wonders with the Leaders expansion, and I know what you're all thinking. This is the weirdest choice. However,
how'd you know? That's exactly what I was thinking, Chris.
Not even Seven Wonders Duel, Ruel.
Oh, it's not even Duel. It's Seven Wonders.
Not even Duel. It's base Seven Wonders. Wow. It is the real Seven Wonders. This is Seven Wonders with the Leaders expansion because the Leaders box fits Seven Wonders and the Leaders expansion.
Does it really?
The box of Seven Wonders is too big. It's too big.
It's huge.
It's horrendous. It doesn't earn its way on its shelf. It's been kicked out of my collection multiple times. I kicked it out, and then I had to get it back because World Series of Board Gaming had it in the roster, and so I got it back. But World Series was also using the Leaders expansion, and what I found is that you can put in all 9 boards. All of the cards fit beautifully stacked together, and you can fit almost all the resources. You can cut some, but you're not going to use all the resources anyway. By doing that, it fits into this beautiful, very thin box that you can slip into any board game bag if you're looking to fill space. This also, I think, could potentially fit on an airplane tray if everybody knows the game. You're tucking them in. Think about how there's stacks on stacks. You tuck them in.
You give that a shot, Chris.
I'm gonna. I will. You know what? Maybe Amazing. I'll take it. I'll take it in my bag to KublaiCon.
Yes.
I think you could do it. I think you might be pushing it, but I think you could do it almost on an airplane tray. But the fact that I am so happy to own this game now versus the monstrosity, the amount of space it was taking up for the sort of game it is. No, disgusting, hate it. But now that I have it as this small little thing, it's a really nice filler. You know, for people who know it, they play it very well. Thumbs up for the filler games.
Yes.
And it's just it really turned me full circle on Seven Wonders, and I'm so happy to have it. I'm I'll slip Seven Wonders in. Perfect. If we get a couple extra people, it plays 7. It's really nice to have that option, but I would never take it with me if it didn't all fit into that box. And I just think it's it perfectly fits in so well that it made me very excited. I again threw out the main box again and just have that little perfectly slipped game and on the side.
Wow.
Awesome to pop into a bag. Would fit in that front pouch of the Mayday bag very easily. And yeah, I'm very passionate about this pick, and I was so excited to make this my personal number 1 so I could revolutionize everybody else's Seven Wonders games out there.
I gotta say, this is brilliant. This is like the coolest entry I think I've seen, because Seven Wonders is like my favorite gateway game. I love Seven Wonders. It's one of my favorite games to introduce people who have like maybe played Ticket to Ride, and I'm like, come with me. Seven Wonders is like the game that I like to introduce people to the hobby with. It's one of my favorite games still. But that box, man, oh my god, it's so frustrating. And but I'm such a little collector. I'm like, because I know some people will take, if it's mostly a card-based game, they'll put them in like deck boxes or whatever, and that somehow feels like disrespectful to Seven Wonders and how much I love it. Like, I think the box is beautiful, but like, I'm not gonna take it. I actively don't take it to places I would take it, right? Because it is a great game if we're in this sort of mindset of like, okay, we're traveling to like see a bunch of people or whatever. There's few strategy games that are easy to teach, but that fit a bunch of people, but that actually are interactive, not just a roll and write where you're doing your own thing. Like, there's not a lot of games that are strategic that fit Seven that, have a high level of interactivity that you want when you're going to like a big group thing. And I never bring Seven Wonders because the box is too big, and I get
never do.
You travel,
never do.
It shifts around. That box doesn't have very good shake test compatibility.
Oh yeah, no, it's awful.
This is actually genius. I'm gonna 100% be doing this with my copy because I do have the Leaders expansion, and I literally never crossed my mind to try that. So that's genius.
I have an elastic around mine just because there's like a tiny little bit of lid lift. Like you can eliminate it if you shift things around in a way that like isn't nice. So I don't. I just keep the stacks of cards. I'm very happy. I'm very happy you feel this way.
That's such a good pick.
Yeah, it's a game changer. It really is a game changer.
It literally is. Like my mind is blown away that you could do this. Again, I'm thinking the exact same thing. I've got that Seven Wonders box. I do not have the Leaders expansion, but the way you've talked about
it,
yeah, I need to go get it. Like
super easy to incorporate in any game too. Like it's easy to teach. You just get that additional leader at the beginning of each round.
Right.
You draft 4 leaders at the start of the game, and you'll play 3 of them, one at the beginning of each round. Easy peasy.
Yeah. Love it. Okay, great call, Chris. And again, my mind is blown. Man, well done. Let's move on to our top 3. I'm going to kick things off with our number 3 list for top 12 travel games. This is another recent favorite of mine and Michelle's. We absolutely love this game. It's an easy game to travel with because the box is small. It is our friend Nemalia. This game really came out of nowhere for me. I learned about it, I think, at PAX Unplugged a couple of years ago, and just based on the description from I believe it was Bree at the time. She gave me the description. It was like cartographers scoring with some tile laying, and I was like, you had me right there. Tile laying, cartographer scoring, boom, I'm done. And it's a wonderful game. It does take a little more space than I think an airplane train. It'd be a little bigger because you do build out a 6x6 by covering and whatnot, but the game itself is brilliant. Every round you're drafting 3 cards into your hand, and you'll see there that they have 4 different scoring conditions. The first 3 rounds, you're going to score 2 different ones depending on what round you're on. Then the final 2 rounds, you're going to score 3 of those conditions. And there are variables, so every game you're going to have different scoring options. And they score basically on the terrain and the animals, and you're trying to line them up. You're going to draft, place one, and then pass the others to the left or right, depending on what round it is. And hopefully you're going to get the right animals and right terrain where you want it. And it's the brilliance about of this game, as other games like this, is there's always that choice of like, oh, I don't want to give this up, but I have to because I want this one a little more, or maybe I don't want this one, but I've got to give it up. I always love that about games, and this one does scale really well. I like this at 2, and I think it's up to 5 is the a max player count, but it's always a good time, and that's why it's our number 3 travel game, Nemalia.
Yeah, I know you like this one. I still have yet to play it, but I've been interested ever since it was brought up, and a really nice pick.
Yeah. No, I'm in the same boat. I've heard you talk about it, Ruel. I've heard a lot of people kind of in like the Twitch streaming community seem to really like this one. I don't know if it's because it's solo as well or something, but I just hear that crowd talk about it a lot, and I've yet to try it, but I've heard nothing but good things.
Yeah, well, we'll have to get y'all on board real soon because it's a fantastic game. But hey, we've got 2 left. Ray, you've got one of the 2. Take it away.
All right. So our number 2 was my game of the year, I think, in 2022. This is Cat in the Box. I love trick taking. It's one of my favorite mechanics, and I got to a point where I finally was like, I don't feel like anyone's gonna do anything new. Like after The Crew came out and everyone loved The Crew, I'm a hater because I don't like co-op games, so I was like, meh, I understand why people love The Crew, but I would always rather play a competitive trick-taking game.
Yeah.
And then Cat in the Box came out, and this was like the first time in a while where I was like, okay, this is something really new and really interesting with trick-taking. So basically, it's a trick-taking game. All right, wait, if you don't know trick-taking, I don't know how to concisely explain that mechanic, but basically you're playing a card, you have to follow suit, and if you have the highest number in that suit, you win. And there's a trump suit where if you play a card from that suit, you win regardless. The cool thing about Cat in the Box, there's two cool things. One is that your hand of cards, there's supposed to be 4 colors, right? Red, blue, yellow, green, and numbers, I think 1 through 9, depending on the number of players. You get a hand of cards that have numbers on them, but no colors. So the theme of this, again, when I saw this box, I was like, meh, cats, very overdone, whatever. The theme of this actually makes a lot of sense. This is like Schrodinger's cat. This is like you don't know what color the card is until you declare it. So you have a hand of black cards, and when you play your black 2, you say this is a red 2, and you have decided that this is a red 2. It's that sort of Schrodinger's cat concept, right? You don't know what color it is until it's out of the box. I don't know. And that's the idea there. You play the red 2, and then you play it like a regular trick taker. Everyone else will look at their hand of cards and say, okay, well, this is a red 4, and then you go until someone wins the trick. And there's a couple of cool things here. Obviously, the first is that you're just deciding what color your cards are, which is really cool and adds a really fun layer of strategy. And the second thing is that when you're hearing this idea, right, you're like, okay, well, why doesn't everyone just have a red 2? Well, when you play a card and you decide it's the red 2, you're going to take a little token in your color, and there's that little grid. You see that at the top of the screen right now on this playthrough video. And you're going to mark the red 2, that the red 2, it exists and you have played it. So no one else can say they have a red 2 again in the future, right? And so there's a mini game involved in that where there's also a little bit of a area control game going on. You're trying to get tokens on that board that like bunch together, which is really cool. And it's just a nice little extra mini game. It doesn't do anything wild and crazy, but it does influence what cards you're choosing to play. It doesn't just give you, okay, your card could be anything. You're trying to like bunch your tokens together. So you're kind of like pretending you have a bunch of yellow cards because you're trying to get a bunch of tokens in a row. And you go until someone paradoxes, which is where none of the hands in your cards in your hand exist, right? They've all been marked. They already exist. So if I have a 2 in my hand and all the 2s have been marked off on that board, oops, I paradox because I can't have any 2s because they all already exist. I feel like I'm explaining this in a way that's making it sound more complicated than it is. But at its core, it's a trick-taking game where there are no suits. You decide what suits your cards are, and there can only be one of each card. So chaos unfolds from there. This is a nice little compact box. It's super tiny. And it's just a really clever take on a trick-taking game. This is going against sort of my party game philosophy for these. This is a little bit crunchier. If you don't know trick-taking, this can be a really hard teach. But if you know trick-taking, this is a really cool level up on that mechanic. And when I first played this game, it totally blew my mind. And again, I think it was my game of the year of 2022, the year it came out.
Yeah.
At least in the US.
Nice.
I just adore this game.
I think it's a great choice, especially if you are a trick-taking fan. I think this is like one of those must-play games. Like, you've got to give this a shot because it does such new things. Like, the mini game that you explained, just that like area control, that sort of blew me away when I first played. I was like, what the heck? This has nothing to do with wait, it does sort of like it's influencing what I'm picking, but and that whole like, what is this going on? I really was impressed by this one. Trick taking can be can be hit and miss with me personally, but this one was a big hit. It was really, really well done.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I love trick taking. I haven't played this yet. I think, and you know what? Maybe I thought the description of it, like how it was marketed, I was like, that sounds dumb. But actually, no. But how you described it, and like actually knowing the game mechanics, I think it sounds very exciting. But I think it was just like, there are no suits. Good luck. And they don't explain that you get to call the suit, right?
Yeah,
and
it's
everybody
not as
talks about it
as it sounds. It sounds like it should just fall apart at the seams.
Exactly.
But because of the mini game and because of the fact that only one of every card can exist, and the way that the number of cards in the deck, it doesn't. Yes, it is like one of the more chaotic trick-taking games because you look at your hand and you're like, it could be anything. But they give you kind of guide rails for it, which is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think like for me, somebody who really loves trick taking, they were like, everything's wild. I'm like, okay, oops,
Yeah.
oops, all wild.
Yeah.
Like I don't care. But then I actually
really
read the rule book, and I was like, oh no, this is a game that I will definitely enjoy when I play it.
Yeah.
But
That's
it was
really
that sort of
that
thing where I
was
was just
your
like, nah.
reaction to the
Yeah.
marketing. That's
Yeah.
just again from my perspective as a marketer, that's really interesting that was like that turned you off to it.
Yeah.
I can definitely see how that's possible. And that was kind of my reaction at first. I pretty much learned about the game and then played it back to back. So there wasn't much time for me to like percolate on that. But it's such an interesting, again, I haven't seen something this unique with trick taking in a while. So I was really love this game.
Great call. Okay, and let's move back to Richard for our number one of all 12, the number one travel game. Take away, Richard.
Okay, we're getting down to the wire, and finally, you folks deliver on things I can talk about. Chris, I have not heard what you have to say yet, but I'm assuming that you, like me, appreciate that Seven Wonders is a brilliant game, and at the end of the day, it's just a deck of cards and some pieces of cardboard and some tokens. Don't take the big gigantic box. Just, compact it all into some baggies, throw it into a backpack, and it's an incredibly portable game that will work wonderfully at all kinds of player counts, especially my favorite way of playing is at 2 players, but only if you play with the original rules that have since been excised from the record. But anyway, good choice. And Nemalia Ruel, didn't that make my top 10 of the year? If not, it was on my short list. It's absolutely brilliant. Ray, Cat in the Box, I hear nothing but great things about it. I have to admit, I think I'm kind of over trick-taking games, but if I were to play one, it would probably be this, because it seems like such a really cool, interesting twist on the formula. But folks, you've waited this long. What's our number one? What's my new personal number one travel game? Well, again, I'm drawing from my experience, just having gotten back from 6 months on the road, and there was probably no greater success I had than, I know it's a favorite of everybody's with good reason, it is Cascadia. Here's me and Jen literally playing it on the road. We're on our little dinette RV. You can see the back of Jen's head there in the picture-in-picture. And I gotta say, folks, I would say bring along Cascadia with the Landmarks expansion, which is absolutely brilliant. And like I was just talking about with Chris's choice for Seven Wonders, don't bring the box. Just bring the cards, throw all of the tiles into a baggie, and the game really compacts down, even with the expansion, and it's so brilliant. Jen and I had so much luck playing this game with so many people. It's just so instantly engaging. I mean, it deserved its Spiel des Jahres win, and once you throw that Landmarks expansion, I would definitely bring the Landmarks expansion, which I think has only just now recently become available, where it adds extra depth and complexity to the game, because now not only do you score the animals with unique special powers, but you score the landscapes as well. Cascadia is one of the all-time greats. It just, every time I play it, it rises higher and higher and higher in my personal rankings. And like I said, I played it with family members, I played it with strangers, I played it with friends, or I should say Jen and I did, and we even played it when no one was around. While we were on the road. We loved it so much that it was literally the first thing I thought of. It's now my new all-time greatest pick for travel games. And like I said, folks, I've covered this topic at great length in the past. If you want to go check out my earlier travel-related countdowns, including an earlier R&R, there'll be links for it down in the show notes. But more importantly, there's going to be links down in the show notes for the extended edition of this R&R, because we've got more travel games to talk about, folks, and I hope to see you over there, and I'll throw back to you guys now. Cascadia rules! All right.
Yeah, Cascadia does rule. I absolutely love this game, favorite of mine from a couple of years ago. And I didn't really think about it as a travel game, but Richard's right. You just throw all the tiles in the bag and grab the cards, you're good to go. So, great choice, Richard.
I mean, I have to come in here, and Richard, I'm gonna go out on a limb and agree with Richard, and agree with Richard's like off the beaten path pick. This is where Richard and I can bond. That and Keyflower. I think the 2-player rules of Seven Wonders, the original ones, also were great. I think it's better than Seven Wonders Duel.
What original 2-player rules?
Wasn't it like a dummy player?
It's just a dummy player, but you pass control of the hand. You pass control of the hand back and forth, and so like you can set yourself up for the dummy player to need to buy resources from you in order to do something. And so you're like pushing the income back towards you. I think it actually is good. I know it is almost like universally reviled and it was taken out of the second edition because they wanted to take it off of the box. But Richard, you and I, baby,
Nice.
this is the bridge. We did it. We came together.
Yes, it took a little traveling, but you have now met. And oh my gosh, you're of one mind. Chris, Ray, thank you again for hanging out and sharing our top 12 travel games. Folks, as Richard said, don't forget to click on the links below because we do have an extended edition where not only do we talk about more travel games, but we actually have some fun playing some Gartic Show with y'all. What is a Gartic Show? You're going to have to click on that link to find out. It's a lot of fun. And until next time, folks, we'll see you here back on the R&R Show. And take care. So long. Bye-bye. And hello. We are back. Woo! Thank you, friends, for hanging out with us. Hope everyone's doing well. We've got a few more minutes. We are going to talk about the games that didn't make our list, and we're going to kick it off by letting Richard talk about the games that didn't make his list. He's got 7 more going right now.
All right, folks, welcome to the post show. I've got 7 more to tell you about because I want to give you a full top 10. And let's just get right to it because I know there's not much time because the gang always ends up going long these days, it seems. So let me tell you a little bit about Star Trek missions. Although if you prefer, you can go with Marvel Remix or Fantasy Realms. I wouldn't go with Red Rising because it's a much bigger game. But any of these games from the Fantasy Realms line are just a brilliant big game experience in a tiny deck of cards. So much flexibility, so much variability every time you play. And hey, whether you like science fiction or whether you like comic books or whether you just like fantasy, there's going to be something for everybody. And yeah, the rules are so simple. Take a card, play a card. Once it's done, everybody compares their final hand of cards. So brilliant. Again, got that Lost Cities vibe going on that I dig. And while personally my favorite is Marvel Remix, my wife's favorite is Star Trek Mission, so that's the one I'm giving the nod to. And I figured we should throw at least one roll and write, right? I mean, they're the ultimate travel games. Just a deck of, some cards or some dice and a pad and some pens. And House of Cats is one I've really recently fallen in love with from one of my favorite designers, Christian Osby, teaming up with William Attia, the K-less guy, making a roll and write. And this one is so sharp. It's got a lot of variety, 4 different blueprint layouts you can use every time you play. But more importantly, every time you play, it's got this brilliant system where the different size rooms you're trying to build off of the dice get different unique powers associated with them. So you can get so much replayability in this game. Really clever. I hope to see this idea in more games in the future, which is why I gave a nod to House of Cats. Then there is Point City. And I know people really tend to give more love to Point Salad, but Point City is the one for me. A brilliant drafting game and set collection. Plays so fast, so smooth. I know we've talked about it on the show before, and I'm pretty sure, Amy and Maggie and I did run-throughs for it, didn't we? Yes, we did. So folks can go watch the run-throughs and learn more about it, but it's absolutely brilliant. And again, just a deck of cards and a little scoreboard and hardly anything, an excellent travel companion. Then there is Rahdo, and I talked about this one on the last one. Sorry, Chris. Sometimes a game is good at more than one thing. And Rahdo is a brilliant engine building game, as I talked about in the last R&R, but it's also an incredibly compact game. Look how tiny it is. You leave the box at home, like we talked about before, and you can set this up and play it anywhere really quick. And it's, again, just brilliant engine building game. Just a wonderful one to have on the road for me and Jen anyway, or if you run into other hardcore board game geeks you want to play a game with. Then, hey, how about some cooperation too, right? I figured I'd throw one in. Forbidden Jungle, the latest from Matt Leacock in the Forbidden line, is maybe the best. I think I maybe still rate Forbidden Desert a little bit more, but in all honesty, since I'm on the road and I don't know who I'm going to play with, Forbidden Desert is mean. It is soul-crushingly hard, while Forbidden Jungle is much more approachable, and man, its table presence is phenomenal with all the cool little plastic minis as we run around on a crazy alien planet trying to escape being chased by scary aliens. These days, my wife and I are watching a new animated show called Scavenger's Reign, which is absolutely fantastic if people haven't seen it, and Forbidden Jungle makes me feel like I'm one of the characters trying to survive. It's great. It's a wonderful co-op experience, Forbidden Jungle. Then, oh man, do I love me some Dog Lover. Again, just a deck of cards and a really, really brilliant game. I mean, if you saw this setup, wouldn't you want to play it? Look at all those cute pups that we're trying to rehome and train and feed and all kinds of stuff. I mean, the game has a surprising amount of depth in it. I really enjoy it quite a bit, and I highly recommend it. I would definitely take it on the road, and I imagine we could play it with just about anybody, unless there's somebody who doesn't like dogs. But if you don't like dogs, I don't know if I want to play a game with you anyway. And then finally, Nemalia. Ruel, you nailed it. If you hadn't taken it, I would have. So clearly, we are meant to travel together because it is so great. But anyway, that's it. Those were 7 more for me. Back to you guys.
All right. Thank you, Richard. And I believe we've lost. Oh, there's Chris. Hi, Chris. Yeah. Oh, now I don't hear him. Is it my mic or my headphones that are off? I don't know. At least all the tech stuff's... Oh, there you go. All the tech stuff's here on the post show. It doesn't matter. Thank you, Richard, for the extra games. Lots of good ones there. Chris, Ray, would you like to share any of yours?
Oh, sure. I had a big list. I love me.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Little tiny, teeny tiny game. I'll just bang them out real quick.
Cool.
Drapulter was on my list. I didn't put it for 2 reasons. One, it was my game of the year in 2023. I didn't want to talk about it again. And also thinking about like games you could play in like smaller, unconventional settings with all the little bits dropping and falling everywhere. I was like, that'd be a nightmare on like a plane or like in a car or whatever. So I didn't put Drapulter on there, but like any Oink game, when we're talking about travel games, I had Drapulter, I had Deep Sea Adventure, Insider, all of my favorite Oink games. I feel like it was too obvious to just do 3 Oink games, but everything that they make is fantastic for small travel. Dr. Prop says The Crew. I personally don't like The Crew as much as everyone else does, but that's a really, if you like cooperative games, that's a great option because it really is just a deck of cards. I had Trio on here as well, another game that's just a deck of cards. Love that game. I didn't put it on here because Ruel talked about it recently, or the previous version of Trio, but the same game was talked about very recently. Trio's great. I had Scout, again, Oink card game. Great pick. I talked about it recently, so I didn't put it on here. Spicy, I've also talked about recently, so I didn't put it on here. I like small box card games. Like this was a category for me where I was trying to branch out. Meeple Pete is saying no thanks in chat. Another great choice. We should just do like card games at some point because I love that as a genre. I also put Hive on here as well. The bag that comes with Hive is really easy to just throw in a backpack. That's a 2-player, kind of like chess. It's like, a 2-player spatial game that can take up a very, very small little table. I didn't put it on the official list because I was trying to stay away from 2-player games for whatever reason. That was self-imposed, but I was like, I don't know. I didn't put Hive on there.
I had that on my list in the first travel one too. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. Then it already exists on my list somewhere. And then my last one was Tapple 10. This is a small box version of our best-selling board game Tapple. It takes the idea of Tapple and just makes it a card game, and it's called Tapple 10 because there's 10 different ways to play.
Nice.
And that's it. That's my short list. It's mostly small box card games. I tried to branch out a little bit, but any of those get it thrown in my backpack. I
didn't know the op did Tapple. I played Tapple for the first time on Sunday. For the first time,
it's
I was
fun
hanging
game.
out.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah,
it's really good. Yeah, it's really, really solid. Like
Tapple's so fun.
Yeah, I love Tapple.
Yeah. It's very, very satisfying to see the things go down and to be staring at that letter that you want to use.
Yes.
And you know that you have a word that says A, and then somebody goes click, and you go, oh god! It just adds that. Yeah,
that's my favorite part is when you zone in on your letter and then it gets taken.
Yeah.
We should play some Tapple. I don't know if you're not going to Gen Con, maybe a future con. It's I almost always have it on my person at cons because it's literally you just pull it out, you split it in 2 seconds.
I like the card that was emotions. I was like, these are fun prompts.
Yeah.
Nice.
What about you, Chris? Any games you want to highlight?
Yeah, I mean, like I had to go back to make sure I wasn't including stuff from the last list, but I was like, it's Red Cathedral, and then I was like, of course, that was my number 1 last time, so I couldn't do that. Azul Mini was a contemplation for me.
Is that real?
There's
is real.
There's a mini version of Azul.
It's real?
Yeah.
It's a real
I don't know
thing.
why. I've been seeing you guys talk about it in chat.
Yeah.
And I've never heard of that. I just assumed that was a joke. That's a real thing.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also
wild.
in chat, that was an honorable mention. John Tripp, Mountain Goats. I was close with Mountain Goats.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those small box all play games would be really good for this
really
category,
solid.
just in general. Yeah.
Because I love their box size in both ways. Like their small ones or even their big ones, they're still like really, really malleable. But again, just thinking about like you could say all their entire thing, QE, right? Like anything along those lines would be great. There's also this game called the Uzzle, which I know it as the Uzzle. The Uzzle, like puzzle without a P.
That's
I know it as the Uzzle, but like when I looked it up on Board Game Geek, it is just like a blatant copyright infringement of this game called Match Madness, and I don't know what to think anymore because we have the Uzzle, like we have the version of the Uzzle because like my girlfriend's parents had it, and then we played it. It's just like you have these blocks, and you have to. It's like a speed game. You're matching patterns, and so all the blocks have different symbols on the side, so you're like flipping through the blocks, like trying to rotate them, and some of them have belt duels on other ones, so like you might have it in the wrong spot and switching around. It's very tactile, it's very fun. I know it as the Uzzle. That's clearly like a very clear copyright infringement, but somehow they get away with it. It's like almost exactly the same.
Is such a murky. You see stuff like that all the time.
I don't know.
It's very, very similar.
Yeah.
And I was looking it up to make sure I got the actual game. Madness, which is a real game that people should probably look into rather than the Uzzle. Unfortunately, I have the Uzzle, and
I like the name the Uzzle better. So
yeah,
it is a better name.
Sorry,
and I've actually played Match Madness. That's funny. I've actually played the other one, Match Madness, and just looking at it right now on BGG, it's a blatant ripoff. It's totally, So Chris may be in prison by the next time we do the show, folks. So
there we go. Yeah, if you play a game.
John Tripp says, I thought you were just mispronouncing Azul, calling it Uzzle. That's hilarious.
That's great.
Have you heard of Azul?
That's awesome.
Oh, nice. Okay.
What about you, Ruel?
I've got a couple here from last year as well. Watergate, Targi, Lost Cities, Sprawlopolis, Deep Sea Adventure. That's my favorite Oink game. Trails, Rolling America, which is sort of an overlooked roll and write, and also the Star Wars deck building game. I think that's a great one to go. Two that were really close to my list was actually Ray just talked about Trio or Nana. I love that game.
Yeah.
That one's always in my bag to go. And also Tiny Epic Galaxies, which was my number one last time we did this, and I still love it, but I've moved on from it somewhat lately. So those are the games that I had. Friends, thank you so much for watching the R&R show and the post show and all the silliness that we do. We really appreciate your support. Why don't we raid someone? And let me find someone to raid. So hopefully someone plays some board games. And then we will be out of here, folks. Don't forget to stick around for the raid, because if you do, you get extra Rahdo points, which you can spend on all kinds of goodies. And we're going to raid Losapalooza because they're playing some board games right now. Our friends Dave and Ilka, we're getting ready to raid, so stick around in 10 seconds here, folks. And Chris, Ray, anything you got to say in 10 seconds before we start the raid?
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thanks. Yeah, bye.
All right,
bye. Appreciate it.
See you next week.
See you next week. And let's see if we've rated. I think we have.
Yeah, we're over.
All right, cool. And we